I don't know why he needs karma for polygraphs.
Adam Curry, John C. Dvorak.
It's Thursday, May 10th, 2018. This is your award-winning Gitmo Nation Media Assassination, episode 1032.
This is No Agenda.
Hiding my links to Russian oligarchs and broadcasting live from the capital of the Drone Star State here in Austin, Tejas, downtown in the Cludio. In the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from northern Silicon Valley, also known as the Crone Star State, I'm John C. Dvorak.
It's Crackpot and Buzzkill in the morning.
Oh, man. I know you got the new mic. I'm still getting used to it, so you got a little washed out there. My mistake. But
I got wiped out, washed out?
Washed out. Wiped out, washed out. I didn't mean to do it that way. So the new mic.
I'm using a new tube mic, sometimes called a valve mic. It uses a tube.
A tube.
And it has this huge power supply that it needs. It uses a 7-pin XLR connection.
How big is the actual power supply? Is it like a brick?
Big. It's a brick. Yeah, it's about the size of a brick.
Well, you sound good, man. It's so good.
That's so good.
I can hear what color bathrobe you're wearing.
Yeah, blue.
Yeah, I know. Faded blue. Typical. Oh, good. We'll see if how it does throughout the show. We tested this a couple days ago, and I was blown away. I thought it made a big difference, particularly because you're squeezing everything into Skype, and it still comes out kind of okay.
Yeah, it's kind of astonishing.
Well, we'll see.
I'll probably go back to the Heil PR40 because the directionality of this mic doesn't really compare to that other mic.
Yeah, it sounds much better when you're closer, though. And I think the Heil does a little better when you move away.
You think so?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
All right. So much for our technical chit-chat. It's episode 1032 of the best podcast in the universe. A lot of show for today, I think. A lot.
You think?
Yeah. There's a lot of stuff going on. Stuff that happened on Sunday. Wait a minute. When was the Attorney General? Was that on Thursday? Did we get that Thursday, Friday? When did we get that?
What did he do?
I don't know. He's kind of a douche, I hear.
Oh, the guy that got kicked out of New York, the AG from New York City.
Yeah, he didn't get kicked out. He resigned within like 4 hours of this news coming out. When did that happen? That didn't happen. We didn't talk about it on Thursday, did we?
No. It's pretty new. I don't know exactly. I do have a clip.
Okay.
I have so many clips, so I guess you're right.
Told you.
Where is it? Yeah.
Me Too advocate. NYC
Yes,
AG women's stuff.
A stunning downfall tonight for a prominent advocate in the Me Too movement. New York's Attorney General is stepping down over assault allegations. Eric Schneiderman's resignation came just hours after the New Yorker magazine reported that 4 women claimed he choked, slapped, or hit them repeatedly. The women had been romantically involved with Schneiderman and say he threatened to kill them if they broke up with him. On social media, Schneiderman denied the allegations.
You know, this is a fantastic thing that took place in news.
Well, there's 2 things that that kind of got my attention. One, a classic example of a male, being involved in the Me Too movement and all about women, which is just a trick, hopefully to get laid. And you see guys doing it all the time.
Yeah.
I'm a male lesbian.
Yeah, putting on my pussy hat. Woohoo!
Yeah, the guys with the pussy hats on. Meanwhile, the guys brutalizes them. Locally, it's believed that he was just into S&M and they weren't.
Well, let's just stop for 1 second and congratulate the kid we followed since he had his own show on MSNBC, which was a complete disaster. I remember us pulling clips from it just to say, MSNBC, you're killing this kid's career. Ronan Farrow, who is he is a genius. Didn't he graduate college at 12 or something like that? It's an unbelievable.
Did he graduate from college at 12? Is that what you said?
No, he was in hospital. So blow me, Dvorak. I think he wasn't 12, obviously, but he was very young, graduated. The guy's super certified genius and a fantastic piece of work because it was him again. He did Harvey Weinstein, and he also came out with this story. And what I like about that is there's just when Ronan Farrow comes out, now there's no disputing it. Not a single person disputes this reporting. There were some questions about the reporting, and Ronan did the rounds.
Multiple women doing an incredibly difficult thing, coming forward with really horrific, brutal stories of violence that turned out to be very, very well corroborated, Wolf. And independently, these women described uncannily similar patterns of behavior. Slaps, hitting, choking, very intense verbal abuse with misogynistic epithets. And I want to make one important point, because a large part of Eric Schneiderman's rebuttal is devoted to his claim that this is consensual sexual role-playing. These women, one after another, went to pains to say that that was not what they were alleging, and indeed that they wouldn't have come forward if it was simply that. What they are claiming was that this was non-consensual, very often in an entirely non-sexual context. And in one woman's case, not even in the context of a relationship. She alleges that he approached her and came on to her at an event. This is a prominent lawyer that he had worked with. And that when she rebuffed him, he began hurling slurs and then slapped her hard enough to leave a mark. And we looked at that picture. Speaking out about domestic violence and sexual violence is always wrenching, doubly so when it's a powerful figure and when you fear retaliation, which these women did. They feared that he would use the power of his office to come after them. The reason that I think they feel the climate is different is partly because of the Me Too movement and other women who have spoken, and partly because Eric Schneiderman had become such a prominent voice on women's rights. And the hypocrisy in their minds, that was a word that several used, became too much to bear. They felt that they could and ultimately needed to protect the next woman to come along, since this seemed to be a pattern of behavior.
It also shows how old proverbs still hold true. My Dutch saying, wat je zegt ben jezelf, met je kop door de helft. He was the guy pointing out everybody's missteps, everybody's misogyny, the toxic masculinity. And yet there he is, yelling the loudest, and he is very guilty himself. I'm surprised in the post-analysis, racism isn't being touted. We're missing that part from, you're my brown slave, bitch. I mean, come on. Even if that's sexual fantasy role-playing, are you really saying that?
Well, he's toast.
Yeah. I don't know if he can survive this mental. He probably can. He probably thinks he did nothing wrong.
No, that's exactly what he thinks. He thinks he did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
He got screwed over, man. That's what I get for helping women.
Now, the thing with the Schneiderman...
I was like the Me Too spokesman, and now they screwed me over. This is great.
Just mutiny, man. Schneiderman has been a very important, or has certainly touted himself as very important in New York, particularly after the greatest recession, the Great Recession, the financial meltdown. Pretty good piece on HuffPo about his complete non-action regarding. He was in charge of the what's the name of this committee? Let's see if I find it. He was in charge of the commission or committee or group or whatever that was supposed to bring down those responsible for the Great Recession, the financial meltdown of 2008, and he has convicted zero people. This guy has been a shuckster and a shill for a long time.
Shuck and jive artist.
And I guess we just never suspected it. He was, you look at the articles, if you go back, he was the great hope. He was the guy that was going to bring down Trump. He put the big Trump University lawsuit together, a whole bunch of things. And he was ready to go right into the Hillary Clinton cabinet or administration. Hello?
No, that's not happening. Yeah, I don't know what else to say. The guy's just a douchebag.
Oh, no, you were cutting out, I think. I couldn't hear you.
No, I wasn't saying anything, so I don't think I was cutting out.
Oh, okay. But it goes beyond the douchebag. I think this is much, much more ground shaking than we realize. And who knows what he was holding back? Was he holding back anything from the Anthony Weiner laptop? Were there any other things that he was making sure didn't come to light? Certainly a lot of people knew about him being a sleazeball. I'm sure everyone heard about this tweet from the president.
Obviously, these are just allegations. Schneiderman has denied them. But if they are true, one person will certainly be vindicated. President Trump tweeted this in 2013 with remarkable, almost spooky prescience. Weiner gone, Spitzer is gone. Next will be lightweight AG Eric Schneiderman. Is he a crook? Wait and see. Worse than Spitzer or Weiner? Whoa! Either he's amazingly lucky on Twitter, or you should ask the president what numbers to pick in Lotto tomorrow.
It was clearly referring to his sexual behavior, but there were other things. He gave the Clinton Foundation a pass on identifying foreign donors in its charitable filings, which is the law. Hey, something's going on with
They're going to have to start looking
John,
into this
something's
character.
going on. Like your mic just starts crackling for no reason. I'm not sure why it's doing that.
I have no reason. I don't know either.
Okay. Well, I'll see you.
There is a looser connection that needs to be. Let me just pop these things back in.
Gee, do you think the loose connection could have anything to do with the crackling sound I'm hearing? I hope your tube isn't giving out. Yeah, while you're doing
I don't
that.
think so.
New York law, charity law, states organizations that received a contribution or grant from a government agency during the reporting period shall include the name of each agency from which contributions were received and the amount of each contribution. Both the foundation and the Clinton Health Access Initiative failed to do that, and Schneiderman did nothing about it. In fact, he shut down any further movement into getting him to do that.
He's a Democratic operative, and the fact that this guy's been found out is one thing. But the next guy that comes along that's if you look into it at all as a Democratic operative is this guy Avenatti.
Yeah, I want to say right off the bat about Avenatti. This is Stormy Daniels' lawyer. I guarantee you, this is Curry's law. He is going to get the full media boomerang back in his face. It may not happen right now. It could be 10 years from now. But the way this guy is abusing the media, and he's the same way. His mission is, I'm going to bring down Trump. That's what he's doing. And I watched this guy. Well, it's hard to miss him. He's everywhere. And you sent a link this morning about some background on him.
Yeah, there's some background on that. There's a link. It'll be in the show notes. It's very interesting. They talk about his divorce and some of the other stuff, but just looking at his basic bio, the guy is a Democrat operative, could be a dirty trickster, definitely a fixer, probably connections to intelligence. I don't think he's in intelligence, but let me read some of his background. He earned a BA degree from the University of Pennsylvania in political science. Then he got a JD from George Washington University Law School in Washington, D.C., which is where you make your connections. Mm-hmm. He worked with Professor Jonathan Turley on constitutional issues regarding the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act.
Oh, how interesting!
While in college, yeah, there you go. Yeah. While in college and later law school, he worked as a political opposition. He worked for a political opposition and media firm, the research group run by Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah, we read this bio before, and he's worked on like 50 different election campaigns.
150 campaigns in 42 states.
Yeah, I was only 100.
And then it goes to some other interesting stuff where he settled an idea theft lawsuit. This is where, as far as I'm concerned, is a conflict of interest, and he should recuse himself because he settled an idea theft lawsuit relating to the show The Apprentice. Against both Mark Burnett and Donald Trump.
What is an idea? What is idea theft? Is that just stealing someone's
idea? One of those things where somebody sends Mark Burnett a treatment for a similar show.
Right.
This is what I'm guessing. I don't know what this case is, but this would be a classic example. And Mark Burnett supposedly says, "Well, it's a good idea, but we're not going to use it," and then just uses the idea. They steals the idea, and so he sues both Burnett and Trump.
And do we know the outcome?
Apparently, I think they paid him off.
Paid him off. Yeah.
I mean, that's what you usually do. It's easier especially if the show's successful.
Yeah.
Because then if you lose, if you
just pay
you don't pay him off, you get in trouble.
Well, so his FISA contacts are interesting, or his intelligent contacts. Now that he was able to access what I think were probably the suspicious activity reports about these payments that Trump's lawyer got?
Clips.
Oh, good.
3 Cohen clips.
Good.
And the first one I want to play is, and I will say this, this is Cohen complete from, it says ABC, but this is an NBC report.
Now to the legal drama swirling around President Trump's attorney and fixer, Michael Cohen, reaching a new level tonight over millions of dollars in payments and a serious allegation that Cohen was selling access to President Trump. Our White House correspondent Kristen Welker has details of what we've learned about that money flow.
Has never thought. Tonight, stunning accusations. The lawyer for porn star Stormy Daniels alleging the president's personal attorney, Michael Cohen, was selling access to the president of the United States. Michael Avenatti claiming some $4.4 million flowed through Cohen's company after October 2016.
I think they paid the money to Michael Cohen probably because he suggested to AT&T that he could provide access to the president and could act as a lobbyist.
And tonight, NBC News is learning new details about those payments, including some from companies that had business pending with the new administration. A senior official at pharmaceutical company Novartis telling NBC News Cohen reached out to the company's then CEO shortly after the election, promising access to the new administration. The company says it paid Cohen nearly $1.2 million for what was supposed to be advice on health care policy.
Before we continue, I just want to step back. When the initial news came out about this one particular company having sent him $500,000, the first analysis, which changed very quickly, was, there it is. It's now a fact.
Collusion.
Yes.
Any collusion?
The Russians paid the lawyer to pay off Stormy. I mean, I literally have the headlines. What is here? What is it?
Why would the Russians do
Russian
this?
leverage over Trump isn't a theory. Now it's fact. Well, what they had done.
Where was that headline?
Well, the National, of course.
The National?
Yeah.
In Canada?
Oh, maybe I'm wrong. Hold on. Since you're asking, I'm sorry. New York Magazine. What am I thinking? It was New York Magazine. And look, they've now changed their title to How Badly Has Russia Compromised American Government? Interesting. Because they had found a link, and this is what I heard over and over again. Firm link to Russian oligarch. Link to Russian oligarch. I'm like, well, how come no one is saying what the link is? And of course, all oligarchs, are in Putin's butthole. So there was obvious collusion. We all know that.
Any collusion?
The Russian oligarch's nephew worked at the company. The company, I think, does something with mining companies. But he had also registered a domain, alt/right.com. So clearly, Nazis are involved. This is everything we feared is coming true. But it turns out, I think, this Cohen guy is just a douche.
Oh, no, he's just a douche.
And Trump should come out and should say, screw this guy. He was selling access. I'm sorry, I interrupted your report.
He didn't first, before you can start playing again. First of all, he was selling access that he couldn't deliver.
Well, he can certainly deliver some form of access.
Apparently not, and it's actually outlined in the NBC report. And then I want to play the ABC version because ABC leaves this little tidbit out completely, and I think they do it on purpose because Tom Yamas is doing the report,
yes.
And Tom Yamas is one of the reporters that Trump called out during the campaign as a crummy reporter, and I think Yamas has a grudge in it. There's 3 of these guys in particular.
Well, let's finish the NBC. Let's finish the NBC report.
Okay, play that out.
Yeah, and by the way, if Tom Yamas left everything out, it's because he had to poop.
But soon realized Cohen couldn't deliver. That official also says special counsel Robert Mueller asked about Cohen's offer of access. Novartis says they cooperated fully. And another major company, AT&T, paid at least $200,000 to Cohen's company, saying it was to provide insights into understanding the new administration. The company made the payments to Mr. Cohen's company at the very time the telecommunications giant was seeking government approval for an $85 billion takeover of Time Warner. Leicester. Also under a microscope, Columbus Nova, a U.S.-based firm with ties to Russian oligarch Viktor Vekselberg, who is linked to Vladimir Putin. Columbus Nova paid $500,000 to Cohen's firm between January and August 2017. In a statement, Columbus said it hired Cohen as a consultant regarding potential sources of capital and potential investments in real estate and other ventures. Only months earlier, Cohen had used the same account to wire that hush money payment to Stormy Daniels over her allegation she had an affair with Mr. Trump, which he denies.
Yeah, I'm linked to Kevin Bacon. Did you know that? I think you're linked to him too.
Now, a couple of things that aren't reported at all. Well, actually, let's go to part 2 of this NBC report. Then I want to mention a couple of things that aren't reported that should be reported, but they conveniently leave it out. I mean, at least NBC tells the story that Novartis says, hey, he couldn't deliver, meaning he couldn't get to the president, which ABC doesn't do. Anyway, go on, sorry.
NBC News has reviewed financial documents that appear to support Michael Avenatti's accounting of the transactions. Meanwhile, the president's attorney, Rudy Giuliani, telling NBC News tonight, quote, the president is not involved in any way, either before or after he was president. Michael Cohen's attorney is disputing some of the claims in a new court filing late tonight. Lester.
Yeah, he's saying that some of the wire transfers that were in the dossier were not even him. But
no, what I'm saying is the following: what is NBC doing with this financial report? Where did Avenatti get this information that $4.4 million was funneled through Cohen's operation? Where did he get this? He wasn't walking down the street and he kicked some guy and he says, hey, look at this. He had to get it from somebody, and NBC had to get a copy from somebody, and NBC is the number one Trump basher right now.
Well, NBC, I
believe this is CIA or probably CIA or FBI documents.
I think it may be. I think it's simple. I think it's an SAR. It's suspicious activity report, and that's within the banking community. I think someone from the banking industry sent it to him. When you transfer money,
it's a possibility, but why would they send it to him? I mean, what's their grudge? What are the bankers with the market going the way it's going? What is their grudge compared to what's the CIA's grudge?
Trump.
No, Trump is benefiting the bankers right now.
Not everybody within the banks. Come on. You don't think that's possible?
I don't believe that's true. It has to be intelligence. I don't believe the bankers would care one way or the other so much, especially, and coincidentally, NBC gets a hold of that. I didn't hear ABC, CBS, nobody else got a hold of this stuff. NBC, the number one Trump basher, gets a hold of it. Yeah. I'm not buying the banks.
Okay.
So let's go to, this is the Cohen, nice spelling there. This is the ABC poor reporting. This is the same report on ABC where they leave out the part about Cohen not being able to deliver. They just conveniently leave it out.
Columbus Nova tells ABC News it hired Cohen as a business consultant for possible real estate deals, but says it had nothing to do with Vekselberg. Cohen already under criminal investigation for possible bank fraud and campaign finance violations. And now we're learning of other companies who paid Cohen millions looking for help in working with President Trump.
Now you have the right hand of the president, right hand of Mr. Trump, all of a sudden starts taking all of this money from all of these multinational corporations for God knows what. And the American people deserve to know what it was for.
Among the payments outlined in Avenatti's memo, $200,000 from AT&T, which has a major merger pending before the Justice Department. The company says they paid to get insight into understanding the new administration. And pharmaceutical giant Novartis acknowledges they paid Cohen $1.2 million. Woohoo! A company spokesman says they were promised, quote, access to the new administration. Special counsel investigators have questioned Novartis about its agreement with Essential Consultants.
And Tom Yamas joins me now, and Robert Mueller's team has already questioned. We know several of these clients, the companies that spent that money, sending it through Michael Cohen's company, which we know is called Essential Consultants. But, Tom, the bottom line tonight, this could spell new legal trouble for Cohen.
It very well could, David. But legal experts we spoke to also said Cohen trying to capitalize on his long relationship with the president might not be a crime. One of the things they may look at is, was this lobbying? And if so, why didn't he register as a lobbyist?
All right, Tom Yamas with us here on the set.
Yeah, I looked at the lobbying laws. It's pretty clear this was lobbying money for lobbying, and he didn't register, which is only punishable by a $50,000 fine. So It could just be like, who cares?
1.2 million. I think you can, kick that off. But then again, and also in this ABC report, they play Avanti talking, and he says this is Trump's right-hand man. But since when? Hope Hicks was always his right-hand woman.
Yeah.
It's bullcrap. It's right hand. We never heard of this guy until like just recently.
Yeah.
So,
well, I guarantee you Avenatti is headed for a disastrous fall because that's how the media works. And I can see the cracks already coming. You know, this, what you sent me, which was heavy.com. They're pretty good at doing that. 5 fast facts you need to know. And yeah, Ben, he has a huge tax lien. There's all kinds of stuff going on with him. It'll be his turn. It's just how it works.
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
I never. It's just like saying it's Roger Stone's turn.
It's Curry's
He's like a Roger
law.
Stone.
No, it's Curry's law. Well, Roger Stone gets his problems too. But you can't. You use the media to promote something. It boomerangs back with equal and sometimes stronger force against you.
Well, you can be sure that people are working on it.
It's just how it is. No, we'll see. By the way,
anyway, we're dealing with a lot of douchebags everywhere you look.
Oh, no kidding. And I think we should stop calling Stormy Daniels a porn star.
Yeah,
That's just not correct.
It's a porn star.
I know my porn stars. This is not a porn star. I'd never heard of her.
Yeah. And you of all people,
me of all people,
for sure would have heard of her.
Oh man. But it is entertaining to watch. The Avenatti guy, I'll turn on CNN just to be irritated by him.
Yeah.
It's good. It's playing out as a beautiful script. It is a lot of fun. Speaking of scripts, we saw a really nice one last night, a couple hours ago, or really early this morning. The president and the first lady welcoming the 3 hostages, political prisoners, whatever you want to call them. Prisoners. Well, yeah. Prisoners. And here's the thing. Everything I saw was a plane taking off from Alaska, Anchorage Airport, and then going to D.C., and there was the president and the first lady. There was no reason to do this in the middle of the night, other than to make a great show out of it.
Well, you get the early East Coast news feeds, which are at
sure,
which would be at my time at 6 a.m. So they have to do it, yeah.
But it was completely I mean, they could have hung out in. They could have hung out for a little bit in Anchorage, or maybe drink a Coke. I know something you've been missing for a couple of years. Anything, and then just land at a normal time. No, that was clearly a show.
Pompeo finalizing plans for that historic summit.
Listen to this.
Oops.
Listen to this. This is from Fox Business News. I forget who it was, but listen to what he says.
Pompeo finalizing plans for that historic summit between Trump and North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. Let's bring in retired Lieutenant General Thomas McInerney. General, a stunning victory for the White House. What do you think?
Absolutely brilliant, Liz. Who would have ever predicted a year ago that President Trump could have orchestrated this and be having a summit and be exchanging hostages, etc.? It's absolutely brilliant.
Did we exchange anything? Did this guy misspeak, or is he just ill-informed? Did we exchange?
Who do we have from North Korea that we exchange?
I've been looking, and I couldn't find anyone. That's why it could be just the general
I think he just misspeaking. Let's assume he's
misspoke. No, let's not assume he's misspoke. That's not the no agenda way.
Sounds like he's out of it to me.
No, it could be. But, I looked quite hard. I couldn't find anything that said, hey, here's something we could have exchanged. Well, maybe this guy's... But, these guys, they go on TV. They're not going on TV because someone thought, oh, that general, let me call him. I mean, we all know how that works. They're being pushed forward. Someone puts them in the right spot, and it's the Pentagon or the agency, someone does that.
Thousands of PR people in the Pentagon.
Yeah. So that's why these things are never by accident. But I don't know. I could be wrong.
I have the fuller report on North Korea report. This is the NBC version of the event. Well, this is not the event. This is the just before the event.
Serving 10 years in a North Korean labor camp. The president today asked whether he deserves the Nobel Prize.
Everyone thinks so, but I would never say it. The prize I want is victory for the world.
Pompeo today vowing we're not going to relieve sanctions.
That was quite an edit they did there. Because it was actually
take that much. I know they took something out, but they didn't take that much out.
Okay.
I think I listened to I have the unedited version from another report, and I didn't think it was as well placed in the story. But I listened to this with the edit. And I said, yeah, it wasn't that bad. The point was the same point.
Yes, but it irks me every single time he does. Yeah, that's what everybody says. I'm the greatest. But really, this is what I want. I mean, it's the wrong way to answer the question, is what I'm saying. If I were advising the president, I'd be like, dude, don't do that.
Oh, yeah. Is victory for the world.
Pompeo today vowing we're not going to relieve sanctions until such time as we achieved our objectives. Kim Jong-un proving he's willing to give up 3 American detainees, but still unanswered, will he do more?
We have to see now through negotiations whether the North Koreans are really willing to give up their nuclear weapons.
Yeah. Tonight, the president is also warning Iran of severe consequences if it restarts its nuclear program. Also tonight, our first new look at a smiling Kim Jong-un with Secretary Pompeo in North Korea. As for that upcoming summit, President Trump now says that he has ruled out the DMZ as a possible site. The only other location he's publicly mentioned as a finalist is Singapore. Lester?
Yeah.
Well, Singapore would be cool. They got good food there. They do.
Yeah.
They're the beneficiaries of before the 1997 turnover, when right after Margaret Thatcher gave Hong Kong to the Chinese, which she did not have to do, but she did, and which irked everybody. And the Chinese in Hong Kong were all freaked out about it.
I remember. It happened during my lifetime.
And they're so freaked out about that, not all, but many of the great Chinese chefs bailed out because Hong Kong at that point was one of the great food meccas. And they went to Vancouver. They bought their way into Vancouver because you can buy Canadian citizenship if you were Chinese at the time for $250,000.
Yeah.
So they loaded up Vancouver with these great restaurants, and then the others went to Singapore. And they cropped up some of the greatest restaurants in the world. And then after 97 and things calmed down, many of the chefs went back, but most of them stayed. So Singapore would be a great place to do it.
If only for the food.
That's what I'm thinking. Why else would you do it there?
Yeah. Well, it seems like that's on track. Seems like that's going to work. And, for all the reasons that we can come up with is, tourism would be number one. Get some tourism going. Kim Jong-un has said he wants international flights over North Korea again, which would be handy if you have an airport for them to land at to go practice some tourism.
So do you, if you could fly, when you overfly a small country like that, do you have to pay a fee?
You pay control fees, so ATC fees. But you don't pay, as far as I know, you don't pay a fee for overflying a country, no. But if you access, so like if throughout Europe you pay Eurocontrol for your flight and they hand you off and they shepherd you through safely. I don't know who would handle North Korea or who handles any traffic. I mean, each country does it, has their own air traffic control system that deals with international flights, but it's negligible. It's not a moneymaker, let's put it that way.
Well, I suppose if you could demand, or North Korea could have an airline. I mean, to do tourism right, it's going to take them years to figure it out because they haven't got, from what I can tell, they're pretty clueless.
Well, there's your opportunity, John. It was your idea. Yeah. Dvorak tours of North Korea, Pyongyang by night.
Yeah. Well, I definitely want to go myself.
So now we have Iran on deck. According to my theory, there is really not a lot of fear about anything at this point, as Bitcoin's price has really not risen to the 10K level that I expected in case of some real peril. So I think we'll have another round of threats coming from the president before something happens or someone says something.
Huh.
And it does appear to be the same format. Yell really loud, bad things will happen, and then go in and negotiate. And I think the president said he wants to negotiate. He wants to renegotiate. And to be clear, this is not a treaty that we have with Iran. There's not even a piece of paper with a signature on it. There's no deal with, as far as I know. Have you seen this? Have you seen an actual piece of paper with everyone's signature on it? I never thought much
about it. I figured there was.
I don't think there is. I think there's an agreement. I mean, like a letter may have gone back and forth, and the undersigned states that, but I don't think there's an actual agreement that we can go reference, other than the outline of what it was supposed to be.
If there was, you'd think we'd be reading it right now as we speak.
Yeah, I mean, we have the JOPA, whatever it is. We have the documents, but I've never seen I just never seen a signatory page or anything. And I think that's because, the president can do this. The president can make deals and agreements. He can enter into treaties, but eventually things have to be ratified by the Senate. And this was the entire reason that Obama took this route, is so that it didn't have to go through Congress.
Right, it would have been a fussy.
Yeah, so for Trump to undo it is well within his right. And it's not like that should be a big surprise to everybody, but I guess it was. No one thought he would do it.
Well, it brings me to one of my ISOs.
Okay.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello.
What is that ISO about?
Which follows show us and wait.
Show us and wait? Oh, yeah. Okay, I see what you're doing.
What are we talking about? Show us. Wait.
Have you been watching YouTube again without my supervision?
This is your clip. You told me to go watch this Joker.
The Packer.
The Packer.
I can't believe you actually did that. I do have one Iran clip here.
It's pretty hard not to watch when you see what, because this is so alien. The clip.
Yeah.
It's like watching something from Mars. I mean, I didn't know any of this was going on.
I sent it to you outside of the show because it was just for you. I don't want to have to explain this clip. It wasn't a show material, and yet here you are bringing it to the show.
Well, I brought these ISOs to the show, and that's as far as I go. If we got bigger donations, I would say, we'll talk about it. We're not going to talk about it.
I looked into what businesses are doing business in Iran, and we were talking about Boeing. And this may also be from Fox Business, but it appears it isn't exactly what we thought it was. Here's a quick clip.
And we might not know the answer to this, Michelle, but there are also multinational companies involved here. For instance, Boeing made a deal to supply planes to Iran. Would that have to be killed? And not just Boeing. I mean, a lot of these European companies, as you know, have also plowed in.
Yeah, so the biggest name out there and the most at stake would be Total, the French energy company, which had gone into a large deal with the Chinese company for the largest gas field in Iran in the world, and with the Iranian company there. Boeing actually never really happened. They were supposed to get licenses. They never came out of OFAC. They've actually never delivered a plane. I spoke with one individual from Brookings yesterday when I asked about the Boeing deal, and he said, that's dead, dead, dead.
Ah, okay.
What?
Did not know that.
Dead,
Michelle,
dead,
thank you very much. We'll see what happens.
She didn't know it. We were misled.
I was certainly misled. It's dead,
That's
dead.
the only... That now explains why this Boeing stock went up once Trump announced this.
Because it's dead, dead, dead. Now, see, we didn't know that.
No, and I should have known it for sure.
People have been asking me, why is John Kerry out there talking about Iran? And I wondered myself, did you know that John Kerry's daughter, Vanessa, is married to an Iranian national and physician? Best man at the ceremony was son of Iran's Minister of Foreign Affairs. I think there's some links to Iran.
Conflict of interest with Kerry and this deal he did?
Some links to Iran there? Isn't that interesting?
Wow. That's terrible. Why is all this information kept from the public, just in general?
Well, because it's Trump. Why are you asking? Stop asking this question.
It's Trump, the president.
Oh, no, you made me want to play that jingle. Hold on. Where is it? Can't find it.
Gotcha.
Yeah, you got me. I have it somewhere. It's just... Here we go. Finally.
He's Trump, the president.
Yeah.
What are we talking about? Show us. Wait.
Oh, man. All right.
Well, I got a little...
you really need to talk into that mic. When you talk off the mic, it sounds real tubey, but not like a...
not in a good way.
No, not in a good way. Thank you.
Let's see. Oh, hey, here's a story for you and make you feel better.
Okay.
Pollen season story.
Ooh, finally.
Tonight, that yellow dust seems to be everywhere, from New Jersey to Georgia, where pollen is smothering Pauline Glenn.
I'm here because I've been sneezing, my throat's sore, really itchy, scratchy, watery eyes.
Today, she got an allergy test during the worst season she can remember.
We're seeing higher counts than we did last year.
Dr. Stanley Feynman is with the Atlanta Allergy and Asthma Clinic, which tracks the pollen count and its effects.
They can also have chest symptoms. It can trigger asthma. It could cause infections like sinus infections.
Right now, among the worst pollen hotspots are York, Pennsylvania, Kansas City, Kansas, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Lincoln, Nebraska, and Dayton, Ohio.
Hey.
Researchers say since 1995, the ragweed pollen season increased by as much as 27 days.
Warmer temperatures caused by climate change really are causing longer growing seasons, so more intense release of pollen.
Doctors say if you're battling symptoms, you should take an allergy skin test to find out what's triggering them. Then develop a treatment plan that may include over-the-counter medications or a nasal spray. If symptoms are more serious, you might consider allergy shots.
I feel like this year has definitely been worse than it.
Pauline Glenn just hopes the worst of it ends soon. Gabe Gutierrez, NBC News, Atlanta.
Well, this is obviously a flawed report, where Austin is still paying a lot of money to keep it out of the brochure. We've got to be the worst. We've got to be in the top 5.
Yeah, probably. And I think you hit the nail on the head.
Mm-hmm.
Austin's paying a lot of money to keep it out of the news.
I heard yesterday that we are in the top 4 for the Amazon headquarters.
I'd put any amount of money you want on a no.
Okay, $1.
Okay, we're in.
I think we have a very good shot. Not that I'd be happy with it, but I think we have a very good shot. Because what we need, honestly, is more Silicon Valley here. Because the contrast is so nice with the homeless guys. And by the way, it's not just homeless guys. But there's homeless women, too.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, I'd say about, what I've counted, about 30%.
It's
so
probably
sad.
The other ones are hiding. It's probably half and half.
When
they showed that pollen,
they're hiding.
When they showed this, they did this pollen report on, I think it was NBC. They started off with some, it was like a backhoe, and it bumped into a tree.
Yes, I saw this. And your mic just did a real bad crackle. Did you bump into the mic?
Yeah, I did.
Okay, don't do that.
Anyway, this thing, it looked like an atomic bomb went off.
Yeah, just this big cloud, and the backhoe or the shovel.
Yellow cloud.
That was bad. Very bad.
Wow.
I don't remember it ever that bad anywhere in the world.
Well, it's all global warming.
It's global warming, yes, of course it is. No, obviously.
Okay, here's. Well, I do have an Ask Adam that I think would be appropriate before we go into the donation segment.
Donation segment? What are you doing? We have other things to discuss. Why don't I just run the show with timing and?
Well, can we do the Ask Adam? I don't care what about that.
Yeah, we could do the Ask Adam, but don't.
No, I've done that before, and you've never groused.
I'm grousing.
Now hold on, wait. Let me.
I'm doing the jingle.
Okay.
I don't know what this is, but there it is. Ask Adam. All right.
Okay, here I'm going to play a section from a shopping shows. I want you to tell me what network it's on.
Ask John.
actually a removable pillow inside. You can see in the photo right there, but you can see how easy this is to take out, and you can just throw that in the wash. Now, this is also great for smaller dogs.
For sure. No, I could totally see a small dog using it. Dogs like that sense of comfort that comes from being in a little enclosed space. They love crates. They love sleeping in things like this. That's good for a small dog.
I mean, think about the cats. They love to go in boxes. They love to explore. This is like, it's something that you can just have around that. It's not only a bed, but also something that they can kind of have a little bit of fun with. And you can fit, if you have multiple cats, they can kind of both squeeze in here. This is also, if you have a rabbit, maybe you have a little bit more of an unusual pet.
Bunny.
And I'm so jealous of that. And just also think of, I'm one that definitely likes to have my cat in bed with me. But if you really do think about where their paws spend time in that litter box, it might be a nice idea for your cat to have
their
a
own
bed
space to
of its
sleep in.
own. Yeah. So this is on deal for $10.71 today, down from $24.99. That's 57% off. Again, find it in the carousel, add it to your cart, and don't
with
forget
these
to check
conversations being very sacred.
Oops.
Now,
ask Adam. Okay.
Now wait. Every clue was there, and actually, if you listen to the beginning, the whole show so far, there's a clue in the show. So every clue is there. There's no reason in the world you can't just nail this with one guess.
Okay, but this is a television shopping network, or not? Well, the ones I know are HSN, the Home Shopping Network. It's QVC. You wouldn't be bringing this if it was obvious like that. So now I'm going to have to think, what shopping network was it?
The clues are in the show and in the thing they said on that little presentation.
This is on Dog TV.
Nice try.
Damn it.
Amazon
shopping?
Aha.
Hey, talk about an idea theft. Do you remember how hard we pitched that to Amazon? I'm talking 7 years ago, 6 years ago.
Mevio.
Yeah. We did a pilot and everything.
You should sue them.
Dogs are people, too.
That's right. You brought me to
it. Avenatti guy. He'll do it.
You brought me to the Dogs Are People 2 segment, John. I got it. I got the Dog Dazer 2 here. And I have a report. The idea behind this test was to have something with me to combat the incredible asocial behavior that people exhibit with their dogs. It's not the dogs, it's the people. So the Dog Dazer 2, which is its first problem, it's too big. It's about the size, it is exactly the size of my Nokia E71. So you can't conceal it in your hand. It has a belt clip, like that won't show. Second problem, it emits a harmonic on about 12 kilohertz, which is audible to the human ear. I shall demonstrate.
Okay, now we're talking about the Dog
Dazer. The Dog Dazer. The Dog Dazer.
Dog Dazer. Yeah.
Yes, the Dog Dazer.
On the last show, some people probably didn't hear that.
Oh, really? People don't listen to every show?
Well, they should.
Well, what I just said is this was my deterrent for asocial behavior from dog owners who seem to be taking over the world, particularly younger couples having dogs, treating them as their children in lieu of children. And allowing them inside places where I find it inappropriate and just letting them do all kinds of stuff.
We don't want dogs in restaurants.
As an example, we don't want them in the supermarket. There's lots of places we don't want them. So I felt it would be fun to be able to pester these people through their dogs. And I don't think you can hear. Let me see if I turn the gate off. Maybe you can hear the harmonic. Hold on. Here we go. No, it's very soft. No, you can't hear it. No, you can't hear it. So I tested it out. It does work. Dogs look at me. They literally just turn their head and look at me. And they don't go nuts. They don't go crazy. They look kind of quizzical.
They don't start barking?
They don't start barking. No, none of this. In fact,
that doesn't work at all is what you're saying.
Well, the device says that it will quiet dogs who are barking. Well, that's not what I want.
Well, if the dog's barking and you play that thing and then they look at you, they probably would stop barking because they're looking at you.
But now they just look at me. He's like, what? So I don't think it's going to be a very and we need to find.
Well, this sounds like a bust.
It is a bit of a bust. We need to find out what will make the dogs, bark.
Yeah, we don't want them to stop barking.
In fact,
to bark.
What will get them to start attacking their owners? I mean, there's got to Rosebud. Maybe if I try that might help. But I do want to share just a couple of notes. One in particular from producer Jen, who was a dog trainer at the capital of Dimension B in Washington, D.C. And this was up until last year. I followed up with her, and I want to share this note. I can confirm that people are substituting dogs for kids. Can't blame them with what daycare prices are in D.C. And people get absolutely nuts when it comes to their dogs. I had 2 women get into a verbal altercation in one of my classes because one used her foot to nudge the other woman's dog off of her. A client and I were once stalked for several blocks and yelled at by a woman who was irate that we wouldn't let my client's dog play with her dog. Can you believe that? I've seen people spend thousands on their dogs, buying the dog higher quality food than the owners themselves eat, sending their dog to resorts, even building entire additions to their house for their dogs. People paid me $100 to $200 an hour for training services. Not that I'm complaining, but I taught classes on integrating dogs and kids. And people would get furious with me if I suggested any safety precautions, such as not letting a dog with questionable behavior be in the room alone with an infant. How dare I suggest their precious pup would do such a thing? Boggles my mind that people would actually risk their child's life over not hurting their dog's feelings. Regarding psychotropic drugs for dogs is becoming more and more widespread as people are pushed to adopt rather than purchase from a reputable breeder. Adopt? What is the difference? Often
adopt is like a stray or a dog that's in the pound.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
A dog. Somebody says, "I hate this dog. I want to kill it," and gives it to the pound, and the pound sells it to somebody.
So it's a rescue dog.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
okay.
you can call it that.
Yeah,
but that's not the norm. I mean, it's not every dog is a quote unquote rescue dog. That started with greyhounds mostly.
Yeah. Well, I think if they're in the pound, you're rescuing them. But anyway,
well, you can call them that, I guess.
Often.
I'm sorry.
Well, I'm not going to call it an adoption. That's just promoting more of the meme. Yes, we adopted my dog from Ukraine. Come on.
It's dumb. It's Chinese.
Often dogs who are adopted have spent their lives either in horrible conditions or as feral street dogs. They either come with severe mental problems or develop them as they go from complete freedom of living on the streets or in the country to being confined to a one-bedroom apartment and forced to integrate into society. Good point. There's also a strong genetic component to these mental health problems, which is getting worse, and most breeders have turned to breeding for physical appearance rather than behavior and emotional health, which isn't entirely their fault since the market has demanded unusual-looking dogs. Dog breeds today look completely different than they did 100 years ago when they were bred to actually work. Back in the day, if a dog displayed aggression or anxiety, it was taken out back and shot, not bred or put into the home of a novice dog owner who can't handle it and then doped up. I'm not sure a life of severe mental problems is more humane than simply putting the dog down. On the plus side of dogs as kids, I've noticed that dog owners are much more attentive to their dogs than parents are to their kids. Anytime I take my kid to the park, every single parent is hunched over playing on their phone. At least the dog owners are throwing tennis balls around. Side note, since you often talk about SSRIs, interestingly, when dogs are given a single dose of an SSRI and then samples of spinal fluid are taken the next day, the level of serotonin is several times higher than what it theoretically should be after just one dose. Nobody is sure why this occurs. Also, it's well known among canine behaviorists that SSRIs lead to lowered inhibition, which can then lead to escalated aggressive incidents. It's not necessarily that the SSRI causes a docile dog to become aggressive. It just has the capability to make a dog who would normally growl decide to bite instead. How about that? We have a great audience. Our producers are the best. Thank you, Jen.
Well, that's interesting.
Thank you, Jen. Also got a link about the actual numbers. This is the pet population ownership trends in the U.S. Compared to rural pet owners, the report finds that urban pet owners are much more likely to agree pets have less nutrition needs. The report also identifies a number of demographic trends that likely will hearten marketers and retailers in the pet industry. For one thing, millennials clearly have bought into the idea of pet ownership. Those in the 18 to 34-year-old age group already have the highest likelihood of owning a pet, while 43% of those in this key demographic cohort who do not have a pet now say they want one in the future. Aging boomers offer another, perhaps unexpected, bright spot for the American pet industry. A decade ago, just 34% of adults in the 70 and over age group owned pets. In 2015 and 16, when the leading edge of the boomer generation began to turn 70, this percentage jumped to around 40%. There's a lot going on. And I think I do have a good solution to all of this. Seeing as dogs in particular, I have the number here, produce a quarter, 25% of all animal agriculture carbon emissions. 64 million tons of CO2. Your dog is killing the planet.
There you go. Now I think you stumbled onto something.
24% of all animal agriculture is dogs. I don't want to die because of your dog. I think I can pull it off. Excuse me, madam. Your dog is killing me and my future grandchildren.
Yeah, you might be able to pull it off. I've been still getting some notes. I'll read one or two. For my thesis, which is that this is a phenomenon of the city. John, in my neck of the woods, rural western New York, which is as rural as you're going to get, there does not seem to be a surge in dog ownership. But then he says, that said, we live in a conservative part of New York, which again is another thing. I believe this is kind of a political thing that you have these dogs.
Also, college towns. Like
college
Austin.
towns, for sure, you have a lot of dogs.
Like Austin, yeah.
Although I don't see very many dogs. If I go on the Cal campus, I have seen almost, if I'm going to go, I'll go visit again and go check out something. I need to go to the library. I will go there and see if I see dogs. I've never seen a dog on being walked.
All right. But it's clearly happening. Doesn't matter where it's happening.
We're both 42 and have one child. We choose to stay at one child because of the cost of raising a child. If there's a thing called hand-me-downs, helps quite a bit. If it was more affordable, it goes on with this. The reason I think liberal millennials are into animals, it gives them something to take care of that they can get rid of easily. Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty much the theme of that one. Get rid of easily.
I think there's something to be said about that. I mean, it's great responsibility, but it really isn't. You know what I mean?
It depends. Most people will not just have their dog put down because it's an annoyance.
No.
And a lot of the shelters won't do it. They'll put the dog up for adoption.
Right. Yeah. Which adds to the 25% of all global warming, according to 97% of all scientists.
All scientists.
Dogs are people, too.
And with that, I'd like to thank you for your courage and say, in the morning to you, John C., and the C stands for Canines are human too, Dvorak.
In the morning to you, Mr. Adam Curry, who apparently has become very sensitive about how to open this segment. In the morning to all ships at sea, boots on the ground, feet in the air, subs in the water, and days and nights out there.
What do you mean, sensitive?
Nothing. Earlier you bitched and moaned when I just mentioned the segment.
Okay.
You can talk.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, chat room, do you remember what we're talking about?
Really? If you had the troll room open, you wouldn't ask that. I want to say in the morning to the troll room, noagendastream.com. They're all there jammed up and ready to troll, doing a good job of it, of course. Also in the morning to, yes, hat trick time.
What?
Comic strip blogger. He got a hat trick.
Yes, he got a hat trick.
3 covers in a row, 3 times.
I think Martin J.J. is the only person that's ever done that before.
Didn't Paul Couture? No.
Well, back in the early days when we had no art,
yeah,
it's possible that Couture and maybe one of the other guys had this, but we weren't. It was like before the stats were maintained. Before we started maintaining hat trick stats. Okay. Yes, there may have been others, but it's a new stat, and so he gets a hat trick. He
gets the hat trick, and
he says he's not going to
do art for this episode to let other people have a chance.
This is what Martin J.J. semi-retired because I think he got like 5 in a row once.
He did. This was for episode 1031. Dog Dazer was the title of it, and it was something else will come back. Well, actually, I can tell you right now. We were talking about the Girl Scouts of America, and you said, probably the Girl Scouts are going to turn all the girls into coders. And so we had a Girl Scouts logo with girl. It was it was simple, but it still kind of hit the mark.
Simple but effective.
And today, got the note right here. Girl Scouts will be bringing more girls into the STEM workforce. So you nailed it. It's exactly what they're doing. It's exactly what they're doing.
This is not what scouting's about.
Yeah, it is.
It's not about job training.
It is now.
I mean, all the things I learned in the Boy Scouts, no offense to the Boy Scouts, I still can't. I mean, I used to be able to tie all these knots. Now I can tie the 1 or 2 knots. I have to go back in the book and learn how to tie some of these. Some of those knots are very useful, but that's not a job. I'm not going to get a job. Oh, I can tie 10 knots at your job interview. And the other stuff is camping, which is like, I really don't like camping after I've done it in the Boy Scouts. I mean, I did a lot of camping. It was raining on us, and it was,
it was not a fun experience for me either.
It turned out to be like, geez, I could do without this.
Yeah, camping, not really for me. How can I get in that STEM program with the Girl Scouts?
You can be a teacher. I like the ones that call it STEAM.
Yes, they add arts to it. That never really took hold, by the way. It didn't take hold. Yeah, but it didn't take hold. Who gives a crap?
No, because nobody wants to teach arts. They don't. They're going to be too artsy craftsy. Nah, we don't want that. I don't know.
As part of our value for value model, we get all kinds of value from our network. We get stories. We get experts on stories. We get jingles. We got a ton of end of show stuff to play. I'm probably going to have to move some over to Sunday. It's just too many different tracks. All funny. All good. High production value. And we also have our executive and associate executive producers who, just like Hollywood, they come in with the big bucks up front, $200 minimum for associate, $300 for executive, and we like to mention them by name, their amount, and give you their note, which often is accompanied by karma being flown back into the Value Network. That is the best podcast in the universe.
Can happen. Start with Kevin Dills, Sir Kevin Dills, the Viscount of Charlotte. North Carolina, 5/12/32. In the morning, this donation is a celebration of my birthday. I'll be turning 32 on Saturday. I can think of no better birthday gifts than the executive producership for myself and some value for the best podcast in the universe. I've been listening to the show for almost 4 years now, and the effect you've had on my life, my state of mind, and my general well-being has been nothing short of sublime.
I'm happy to hear that.
I was thinking about this because I was moaning about, what an editor should be doing to these reporters who just throw stuff in that's not right.
Mm-hmm.
It's really, or the NBC reports. All we're really doing is being good editors, and the results of our conversation it should be mainstream. People shouldn't have to turn to the No Agenda show for this. Just an analysis the way we do it. Just saying.
Well,
they have to because these guys, the people that are supposed to do it professionally, can't manage it.
They're too busy promoting entertainment products.
Well, there is that, which is something we haven't harped on enough recently. Anyway, I can't thank you enough for all you've done and what you continue to do. Please send me some jobs karma as well as some general purpose karma to top off my reserves and see me through the coming months. Also, if it's not too much trouble, I'd like to hear the George Carlin mix at the end of the show.
Oh, boy.
It's one of my all-time favorites. Last but certainly not least, I'd like to give a hearty in the morning shout out to all my fellow North Carolina producers, as well as all of my fellow Eagle Scouts out. He's another Eagle Scout.
I know. We're just full of them.
In the morning,
they're an international crowd, you say.
Exactly. Then he says, thanks you for encouraging. I think we probably have, we're the number one Eagle Scout podcast.
Eagle Scout Radio. Wait.
Eagle Scouts.
Let's try that.
Kevin.
Try it like that. You're listening to No Agenda. We are Eagle Scout Radio. That could work.
Yeah, I liked it. It was good. Good right off the top of your head.
Let me give him his jobs karma.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And maybe if you don't mind, maybe I'll move the George Carlin mix to the next show because we got a lot to play. But it's a favorite, so we will play it.
Sir Jim Mann in Ringgold, Louisiana, 333.33. Gents, it has been a long time since I've donated. The analysis and discussion you provide regarding childless couples and fur babies was excellent. Great job, and thank you. No jingles, no karma, Sir Jim Mann, Black Knight, KF5YAE 73.
No, 73.
We also have a lot of
Kilo 5 Alpha Charlie.
A lot of hams and a lot of Eagle Scouts, and we have a lot of Eagle Scouts who are hams.
Oh, my goodness.
Unbelievable.
Is there any collusion?
Collusion. Edley Boutelier. Keep up the great work, he says. He came in with $333.
Thanks, Ed.
Thank you. He will be an executive producer.
Yep.
Gina Brown in Providence Village, Texas, 333. Finally completed my damehood. Thank you for the sanity and that you provide twice weekly. Karma is appreciated.
Hey, nice, Gina. Yeah, she's the only one on the list today. So a daming. Looking forward to it. Get your shoulders ready.
Karma.
Oh, sorry. Yes. Karma.
You've got karma.
Sir Cal, $234.99 to be associate executive producer for the show. And he says, may I request a get well karma for my mom and for all those who need it. Cheers.
Absolutely. Get well, Mom.
You've got karma.
Philip Veenstra. Veenstra.
Oh, maybe
$200.01. Mm-hmm. Calling out JCD. Was drunk on DHU this week.
What? Were you?
Yeah.
Were you plastered?
I wish.
More than usual?
I don't drink before shows.
No, not
Good
before.
For him. He needs to be let loose once in a while. It is better to have some good wine. I love this show. I'm glad you're donating here. I'm slowly working toward my knighthood and need jobs karma. I started my construction business, VeenStra.com.
Veenstra.
VEENSTRA construction.com. All one word. This year, and can use all the advertising I can get. Well, just got
whatever you call it.
If you're in Springfield, Illinois, look me up. Cheers, Philip.
You got it.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
Yeah.
You've got karma.
Let's get some jobs. Gotta get some jobs. Get some jobs.
Sir Gregory Birch in Port Angeles, our Dentite night. $200. No note here. He does have a birthday. This actually came in at the last minute on the
he's on
last
the list.
show. We couldn't get to it.
We
didn't get to it. We could have. We didn't. I want to thank all these folks for helping us out on show 1032.
That's it.
I believe.
Okay. Well, thank you all very much. These are executive and associate executive producers. We'll be thanking more people who came in with $50 and above to support the value that just seems to swish around the No Agenda Network. And, of course, we have another show coming up on Sunday.
Dvorak.org/NA.
You'll have plenty of formula to go out there and spread around to everybody. You know what to do.
Our formula is this. We go out, we hit people in the mouth.
Shut up, slave.
Shut up, slave. So I watched some of this Google I.O. going on. This Google I.O. This is
they're streaming it.
Their big developers conference. And it was interesting to see that everybody moved towards the candy that was being handed out, but missed, I think, the big issues, or at least from our perspective, the big issues. Google being a spying company, and if they are not Amazon's yin to the yang being evil corp, they're part of the evil construction. construct. So you probably saw,
tell us more.
Oh, well, did you see the demonstration where AI called up the restaurant and made reservations talking on the phone? Oh, my God. Oh, so awesome. Did you see that?
No. The stuff like that I know doesn't work.
Well, here's what I didn't understand about the demo and its practicality. So, although it's cool to show that a computer-generated voice and apparently AI can call up a restaurant and have an interaction, have a conversation, book a table. But what's the point? I've been making reservations online for years. I mean, is it really all that much more handy? And then we all know the restaurants will have AI robots answering the phone. So these two will just have a very slow, stupid, time-wasting protocol. Whereas what you really want is you want your system to talk to their system and make the reservation. Why go through all this back and forth other than to humanize artificial intelligence, what I think is part of what's going on? So that was the demo that everyone was tweeting and, oh, it's so cool, it's so awesome.
Why would they say, it's not going to work? You're going, here, you be the robot and I'll be, you be the robot calling me because you know what it sounds like. You saw the demo. And I'll be the restaurant.
Okay.
Okay. Hello, notch filters.
Hello. I'd like to make a reservation
Can you hold 1 second?
Hello? Hello. I'd like to make a reservation. Hello? I think it could probably hold. Okay, you can come back now. You made your point. I got it.
No. It would be that, or no, we can do 7:15.
To be fair, they also did a demo with, I think they called a Chinese restaurant, and there was a lot of language confusion, and it didn't work.
Yeah, I bet it wouldn't.
But it exited quite gracefully. It did get out of it gracefully. But it was like man on the street.
And let's get another. Let's go back to the person making the reservation. First of all, you got to boot up your AI machine.
No, it's in the talking tube on your desk. It's part of Google
it's in the talking tube, and you say to the talking tube, can you call Gennaro's? Can you call Gennaro's and make a reservation for 2 at 6:30 next Friday? Now, how much time? For one thing, the reservation may or may not be available. If it's a popular restaurant, it probably won't be. So then you're going to have to go back and forth with the tube. The tube comes back and says there's no such reservation available. Well, could you ask for 7? I'll have to call back. And you could spend a lot of time. But your method, which is the right way, is you go on one of the reservation sites.
How about this? You say, tube, make a reservation. The tube just talks to the restaurant's API and makes the reservation. How hard is that? I mean, and it just seems like that's easier to me. It was just a bullshit demo, and it was very effective because it made them look super cool and humanize what they're doing. I'm okay with that.
I'm sure it was a fine demo.
Remind me to play Alexa for Business before this segment is over, because that'll be interesting.
Well, the segment's ending, so why don't you play it now?
The segment is not ending. No, it's not. I got clips from the Google I/O.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So the Google I/O. They what's his name? The CEO?
Page?
Dinesh? No.
Oh, this Google guy.
The Google guy.
Dinesh D'Souza.
Dinesh D'Souza. Wow, that could be deemed racist somewhere. He started off.
Dinesh would care.
He started off by talking about, this is their concept, digital well-being, and I like this so much because well-being. It's how you are. It's a wellness of a human being, well-being. I think I deconstructed the word properly. But to add digital to it, your digital well-being, find your balance, take a break, manage your kids' screen time. These are all the things that were in his keynote. Now, I didn't take the keynote, but I did want to get a couple of things on record here about the new Android P. And that's just P, capital P. Which is geared specifically, as we're being told, to help you with your digital well-being. Now, when you listen to this Well, I have three.
What is it? Is it a phone?
Well, Android is, so it's the operating system. It's a new version of the operating system. It's going to be explained. I'm sorry?
Okay, go on. Yeah.
No, ask your question.
Yeah. What?
You said.
No, I don't have a real question. It just sounds like, is it a new phone operating system?
Yeah.
Or is it, what else would you use it for?
Well, it is Android is the phone operating system that Google runs. By the way, it's also going to be in cars and in your kitchen, and
Sure it is.
Android everywhere. Internet of Things, it's all there.
The Internet of Stings.
Yeah. I want you to listen to this clip, but bear in mind all of the data that is being collected.
People have also told us they struggle to be fully present for the dinner that they're at or the meeting that they're attending because the notifications they get on their device can be distracting and too tempting to resist. And
Turn off the phone!
We've all been there.
No. I haven't.
I know you haven't been there.
But I've seen people who have, and I say, why do you put yourself through this? There's nothing that important. What, do you have an operation? Or you have somebody, you're a doctor and some guy's dying of a heart attack and you have to be there. You're a priest and you got to give the last rites to some guy's been hit by a bus. Why do you need these notifications?
So we're making improvements to do not disturb mode, to silence not just the phone calls and texts, but also the visual interruptions that pop up on your screen.
Oh,
to make
what a breakthrough!
The crowd actually cheers this at a certain moment if you'll just wait.
Visual interruptions that pop up on your screen. To make Do Not Disturb even easier to use, we've created a new gesture.
Oh, can you guess what the new gesture is?
Yeah. Middle finger extended.
That we've affectionately codenamed Shush. If you turn your phone over on the table, it automatically enters Do Not Disturb. Woo! So you can focus on being present.
Hold on. That's not a gesture.
Wait. Vibrations or other distractions.
Listen, here they go. Woo! Woo-hoo! Amazing, Dinesh, I can't believe you put this together for us.
It's not a gesture.
Technically, they call that a gesture because your phone is capable of knowing exactly what you're doing with it. So when you turn it upside down, it knows it's upside down. That is technically called a gesture. That's how it works within the framework of Android. That's what you call it.
What if you spin the phone?
And let's continue.
Of course, in an emergency, we all want to make sure we're still reachable by the key people in our lives, like your partner or your child's school.
Any emergency, Stop the presses. You're, let's see, an hour and a half from your school. Your child's school has an emergency. They send a text out. What's the emergency at the child's school? Your kid's throwing up?
John?
You have no mom near the house, maybe somewhere she might be working closer? Does everyone has to get involved? The uncles, the aunts, the grandparents? Give me a break. Middle finger extended.
Your dog walker, has a question. You want your dog walker, your dog sitter to be able to get through?
It's like your partner or your child's school. Android P will help you set up a list of contacts that can always get through to you with a phone call, even if Do Not Disturb is turned on.
Okay. So this was just an application of this fabulous new Android P. And I wanted to just kind of bring you into thinking about, okay, so now they know the phone is upside down. The phone knows what to do. The phone, of course, is also reporting this. I would assert that the minute you turn the phone right side up and start to look at your crack, that all kinds of interesting messages will appear that would be very important. I would say perhaps of the marketing orientation, because it's very good for Google. Bless you. It's very good for Google to know that now you have what they call, they have a word for it. It's coming up in this next clip. I think it's mind, bless you. Pollen, baby. Pollen.
Pollen bomb.
I think it's called mindful engagement, which is a complete marketing term.
Oh, I see what you're getting at. Oh, stop the presses. Let me explain to the audience what I think you're saying.
Thank you.
What you're saying is this is a gimmick. So Google knows when you're doing something important, and then when you flip the phone back over, you're now, because you're all geared up, you're now more receptive to a sales pitch, and they can start throwing product ideas at you. Hey, why you're not at a meeting? Why don't you buy this?
Not only that.
Oh,
yeah. So now you're primed. Now you know exactly, you're in the right frame of mind to listen to what they are going to sell us as fantastic features for your digital well-being. Now imagine if every app was tracked, every interaction in every app was tracked so that we know when you do, what you do, in what application, and we sold it to you as a benefit.
Our team has heard so many stories from people who are trying to find the right balance with technology. As you heard from Sundar, helping people with their digital well-being is more important to us than ever. People tell us a lot of the time they spend on their phone is really useful, but some of it they wish they'd spent on other things.
What?
In fact, we found over 70% of people want more help striking this balance. So we've been working hard to add key capabilities right into Android to help people find the balance with technology that they're looking for.
Now, again, this is the sales job. This is to help you. But bear in mind, when is this person fully engaged in whatever they're doing? So that's when we want to hit them up. And by the way, we want to track all of this.
One of the first things we focused on was helping you understand your habits. Android P will show you a dashboard of how you're spending time on your device. As you saw earlier, you can see how much time you spent in apps, how many times you've unlocked your device today, and how many notifications you've received. And you can drill down on any of these things. For example, here's my Gmail data from Saturday. And when I saw this, it did make me wonder whether I should have been on my email all weekend, but that's kind of the point of the dashboard.
So on this dashboard, you're seeing your mic is freaking out. You can't touch it.
Huh.
You really can't. It's doing it throughout the whole.
I'm not touching it. That was something.
Okay. Whatever you're doing now.
Yeah, I won't do it. I won't do it anymore.
Promise? Okay.
No.
So we have a dashboard. You're gonna have to plug in the other mic if that keeps up. I mean, it's really bad.
I agree with you, but go on.
So you have a dashboard, and the dashboard shows you the application. It shows activity usage in email. It might even, show what you're reading and when you're replying. And developers now have total hooks to store this information.
What? Wait a minute, developers?
This is a developer conference, yeah. The developers now can...
Oh, so they can do as much as Google can.
Yeah, well, probably not, but they can flow information through to this dashboard as well. The dashboard is the candy that you look at and think, thank you, Google, you're helping me. But the dashboard is a collection bucket that gives these guys access to information about their app, which has now been processed in the Android software, so that they know when you are engaged, when you're really ready for something, and it's probably stored within Google's cloud as well.
Now, when you're engaging is one part of understanding, but what you're engaging with in apps is equally important. It's like watching TV. Catching up on your favorite shows at the end of a long day can feel pretty good, but watching an infomercial might leave you wondering why you didn't do something else instead. Many developers call this concept meaningful engagement, and we've been working closely with many of our developer partners who share the goal of helping people use technology in healthy ways.
I just want to reiterate, the problem we have today is not so much Facebook and Google and Twitter, and it turns out BuzzFeed as well. They were also selling all kinds of information to political action committees with what their users were doing on their site. It's not so much their fault for doing it, it's what we're giving them. So these, particularly Android, which is still the largest install base, it has incredible capabilities now to spy on what you're doing. Just immense. And it's being sold to us as the digital well-being.
Okay, that was a quick tour of some of the digital well-being features we're bringing to Android P this fall, starting with Google Pixel. Digital well-being is going to be a long-term theme for us, so look for much more to come in the future. Beyond the three themes of intelligence, simplicity, and digital well-being that Dave and I talked about, there are literally hundreds of other improvements coming in Android P.
Improvements. Can't wait to see them. So that's what Google's doing.
How is any of this an improvement on anything? I think you got the right idea with that stupid little phone you're using.
Well, let me just say a couple things. Google has an incredible problem right now, and they're not talking about it. And I watched as many of these different sessions as I could. Most of them are really quite poor, and just poor presentations. Google has an incredible problem with voice. This is why they want people engaged on the phones, keep on the phone, keep on a device. They really don't want people searching things through voice because they have no way to send back an ad. So they're desperately trying to figure out how they can get what you say into the talking tube back onto the screen somewhere. So, I don't know how they're going to solve it exactly. I doubt people will be interested in asking a question and having the talking tube spit back an ad first, or will it only spit back, if you're looking for a particular restaurant to go to, will it only give you things that are favored by Google? I mean, they're going to run into some problems, but the main one, they literally have no search inventory on voice search. I don't think anyone's really looking at that.
Wait a minute. When you do a voice search, doesn't it just turn it into words? No. It was a regular search?
Yes, but it's no. When you do a voice search on the talking tube, the tube answers you with its voice. Where's the ad? Where's the sponsored content? Where's the sidebar? Where's the inventory?
How come it doesn't? How about this? The voice says, "Thank you, Adam, for your question. Do you have time to listen to a presentation?"
Yeah. These are the things they're trying to solve, and you'll see them with devices. Like, oh, it's really handy. You ask, and the device has a screen. They need to have screens for their business model to continue.
That is one of the things that they were promoting on the new Google shopping network.
Yep.
That Google screen thing.
Even the Amazon shopping network. You said Google. You said Google.
Yes, I said Google, but I meant Amazon. That's what they were promoting. They have that their talking tube has been turned into a talking screen.
Yeah. They have a similar problem. But it's much easier for them because they're really all about shopping. They don't have to, they're always going to come back with a product. Always.
Yeah, that's because that's what you're searching for. If you're not on Amazon looking for your bio.
But I'll tell you, when you asked simple questions, such as Book of Knowledge, how old is John C. Dvorak?
John C. Dvorak is 66 years old.
So, I mean, that kind of stuff is, it still does. It does some of that very well.
Thanks for mispronouncing my name, douchebag.
But the talking tube people.
Not you. I'm talking about the tube.
The talking tube. Oh, check this out. Book of Knowledge. What did I ask you to?
I don't know that.
Book of Knowledge. Hold on a second. I got to hold it closer to the mic. It's not going to work. This was a funny one. Cancel. It's freaking out. Here we go. Book of Knowledge. What did I ask you to remind me about John C. Dvorak?
There are no reminders scheduled.
Oh, you bitch. Book of Knowledge. What is my remember about John C. Dvorak?
Can you tell me all the details?
No, I asked you. No. Damn it. I had a great demo.
Epic fail.
Fail. A big epic fail. It's all right. Here's Alexa in business.
You already know how Alexa helps you at home. Alexa keeps you up to date on current events.
Alexa, what's my flash briefing?
Here's your flash briefing from the Business Review, management tip of the day.
And on top of your schedule.
Alexa, remind me to pick up the kids at 5 p.m. today.
But what if Alexa could help you work more efficiently and be more productive? Introducing Alexa for Business. Now, Alexa can be your intelligent assistant wherever you go. Alexa can help you work from the comfort of your home.
Alexa, when's my first meeting today?
Your first meeting is one-on-one with Morgan at 8 a.m.
Alexa, join the meeting.
Okay.
Hi, it's Angela.
And help you in the office. Alexa can schedule a meeting.
Alexa, schedule a meeting on Thursday with the sales team at 2 p.m.
That's sales meeting on Thursday, October 26th at 2 p.m., right?
Yes.
Okay, I've added that.
And even book a conference room.
Alexa, ask the office who booked this room.
This room is booked by Allison. Room 114 next door is available. Should I book it?
Yes.
Alexa saves time and hassle by starting meetings effortlessly.
Alexa, start the meeting.
Would you like to join the sales meeting?
Yes.
So you can shine during that important presentation.
Alexa, pull up last quarter sales report.
Okay.
Perfect.
Alexa helps you stay organized so you can focus on what matters.
Time to pick up the kids.
All of this is made possible with Alexa for Business, which gives you the tools to provision and manage thousands of Echo devices around your office and enable your employees to use Alexa anywhere they work. With Alexa for Business, it's easy to create contextual voice experiences for your employees and for your customers.
Alexa, where's Tyler's desk?
In section B3.
The more you look, the more you see. Now, Alexa can be used in an infinite number of ways, like helping your employees solve that pesky printer problem.
Alexa, ask the office for more printer paper.
Okay, I've ordered more paper. Should I send your job to printer 3?
Yes, that'd be great.
The only unanswered question is, what will your business do with Alexa?
They truly are evil corp.
That's bull crap.
I really love the, shall I send it to printer 3? I'm like, yeah.
I don't believe for a minute that that'll work.
I don't think so either.
I mean, if you're on Microsoft products and that you have your printer drop down, half the time when you hit printer 3, assuming you have more than one printer, it doesn't work.
Right.
So you need new drivers. What happens? What does Alexa say when the printer says you need new drivers?
I don't know. I mean, you're getting into
the
real
whole thing is
technical details.
Joke. And I think they should just give up on this, but they can't because this makes the shareholders feel good and everyone gets to applaud and it's ridiculous. I mean, these guys all think they're Steve Jobs.
Oh, they're all presenting it like that as well. Absolutely. Yeah. And I saw some turtlenecks. And,
use your own style, people.
It does, of course, bring us to...
Yeah, I'm OTG. You can't find me. Yes, I'm OTG. You can't find me. Yeah, I'm OTG. No eyes on me.
Yes, that brings us to OTG Off the Grid. Now, make no mistake, this is not going to thwart the government from spying on you and hacks, etc. You need to go to a different show for good information on that. But to be able to live in the digital world, to have true digital well-being, and not be spied on continuously, right down to what they have this whole thing in the wind down sequence. I didn't clip any of that. You just tell your phone, I'm going to wind down now. And then it turns the screen black and white. So you have less stimuli as you're getting ready to lay down and go to sleep, and then it slowly will just
then they can send people to your house.
Yeah, maybe. Oh, by the way, at the Google I/O, when you went in for registration, they had pronoun stickers to put on your badge. Here, I have a little picture of it. We care about your pronouns. Add a sticker to your badge to share with others. Which
I would have each one of the stickers. I'd use them all
in
a circle around the badge.
And the one in the picture is a Zer. Fantastic. You should have gone if only for the.
They won't give me a pass anymore. They gave up on
the comedic value alone. I have a little update on my OTG. Actually, I'll read a note first, a short one from Samuel and his wife. Adam, in the morning, my spouse and I, we're old millennials, are going OTG, digital detox, and are wanting to know which of the phones you've been testing is your favorite. Carolyn, my wife, deleted Facebook from her iPhone and reports a marked decrease in her anxiety and less depression. All I have is an iPod and a crappy flip phone, but I'd like to receive SMS and have a basic browser. As soon as we settle on the phones, we plan to sell her iPhone to pay for them. This is such a great idea. Any advice would be welcome. Yes. So I'm going to give you a little update. I received the final two phones I was going to test, the Nokia C3 and the Nokia Sash 210. I'm pretty sure I can safely say don't order any old Nokia phones, except for the one I'm going to tell you about, from eBay, because this is how they arrive. The phone, so the C3, which is a nice little device, nice phone, very light, same kind of dimensions as the E71, a little plasticky, but seemed very fast. The operating system seemed to really go much faster than the E71, so I was very hopeful. And yeah, lo and behold, I got it to work on the Wi-Fi. It worked on, I think 2G is what I tested it on, until I started to notice that the keyboard mapping was off. Because what these Chiners do is they send you the phone, and they just I guess they have some old plastic phone cases around. They jam the guts in there. They load a ROM. It's a Spanish keyboard, and they put it on the English language. So if you want the @ sign, you have to hit Shift 3, which is the Pren's. I mean, the whole thing is messed up. All the mapping is messed up. You couldn't even remember which keys to use. And the same, more or less the same happened with the Nokia 210, which, again, I thought this would be the winner. It's a very pretty device. You could even say it was, the styling was 2018. And it had some key mapping issues, much less than the other one, strangely enough. But it had the Opera Mini browser in there, which was hard linked to whatever phone service it was originally sold with, or that the image of the operating system. So it starts up and it wants to connect.
Great.
Yeah, and it wants to connect to a proxy server, which it can't get to. So forget about it. The only phone that I've consistently found is the one to have is the Nokia E71. And then it has a couple addition. I think this is the best feature phone ever made. The browser is great. The messaging works well. It has a little kind of like an office suite of some kind of. I mean, you can't update any of this. You can't. You get it, and that's what it is. You can't do anything else than what you receive.
You get what you get.
You get what you get. But you can open up Word documents and do some small editing if you had to, and it runs on 3G. So it's a real winner. Now, as an addition to that, I wanted to get the pager out of my life. And as you recall, I had...
What's the model number of the Nokia you'd like? Is that the old classic?
The E71.
Okay.
You can get them for about... If you get it, you can get probably a new one on Amazon for about $150, or you can get refurbished from about $30 to $40 on the eBays. And for whatever reason, these things do seem to come with the appropriate, software installed for whatever it is, whatever country it was sold for.
Well, that's good.
And you can still load the Opera browser on it if you can, just get to the net. Now, so the pager I really don't need because I can send email from this phone if I have to. And then I remembered that most mobile phone operators have an SMS gateway, and T-Mobile, I'm on T-Mobile, has it. So you to send an email as text message, or even better yet, as a MMS. Remember those? The multimedia
sending thingy.
Yeah. Multimedia sending thingy. So if you were to send me an email to adam@curry.com, I have it set up because you don't email me that frequently. If you do email me, I want to know. Same with Tina, same with Christina, and then I have one or two keywords that I'm looking for, and those go to my mailbox, but they also forward a copy to the SMS gateway, which is my phone number at tmomail.net. And if you send anything over, I think, 140 characters, it turns it into an MMS. When you open that on the Nokia E71, it opens as an email. So you could actually reply right from there if you wanted to. And so now I don't need the pager because if someone needs me, they can text message me. If there's something important I don't, and dudes named Ben have probably used this for decades. They know all about this. If there's some particular message I want, which I can, change pretty quickly in my email rule settings, then I'll get a notification. I can get the email from there. Or if I feel I can go and open up email and synchronize it, which just takes a long time. But really, there's not a lot of spying stuff being sent back. It's not convenient, which makes me not want to use it. But yet, when the kid's throwing up at school or the dog sitter has an issue, they can still get through to me. Don't need no Android P.
Well, okay.
And I think that's pretty much the last review I'll have to do. I mean, this is the one. I don't know of any other phones that even come close to doing what the Nokia E71 can do from this perspective. Some people who've gotten it have also gotten the podcast client to work and some other things, but all of it without...
Wow.
Yeah, wow is right. All of it without any real spyware. Now, what I've noticed, and this was a little hard for me, but not horrible, is WhatsApp no longer runs. As of November 2017, WhatsApp no longer runs on Symbian. So you can't run that chat client, but, fuck them. I told my daughter, I said, I'm back. Just talk to me on SMS. Fine, she says, no problem. So, and, Tina and I only talk on SMS. Pretty much everybody, I'm not just so community, just stop. It's very simple. Just, I'm just not going to get there.
Huh, guess what?
What?
I don't use WhatsApp ever. Never have used it.
I know.
Never loaded it.
I know. You're smart. And you're smart. And you don't really want WhatsApp because, it's owned by FaceBag and, it's only a matter of time.
Have an account.
Nah. Well, it used to be great. It was 99 cents per year and, there was no spying. And then they sold the FaceBag and now spying has started.
Yeah, that's the problem with all these guys with their promises.
Yeah. And you too will have time to walk around the neighborhood.
This whole net has been promises. Sorry. I stopped the rant.
Your rant didn't come through because Skype has been not letting you rant.
No, that's interesting because they know they're next.
Yeah, so I don't think I'll have any more phone updates unless someone has an idea. And if I add any more to my toolbox, that's fine. Oh, and by the way, I charge this thing once a week. That is the most beautiful piece of all.
Yes, I remember we used that. Was it the E71, the E74?
Yeah, E71.
Okay, so it's the one with the chrome bottom?
Well, I got an all black one, but it's metal. Yeah, it's a metal bottom.
That thing I remember about those phones is you'd charge them once a week.
Yep.
And they'd stay charged because there wasn't a big overhead just hanging off the thing. So they're constantly soaking up juice like the regular phone. You can't keep a phone on for more than 8 hours or 12 hours.
Oh, it's toast. No, it's toast. And because they were still using standards, regular open standards back then, there's some really interesting things. So there's a little note-taking application, which is handy, if I just want to write a few things down from going to the store and, whatever I need. So now I was doing recipes, and the title would be whatever the recipe was, and then the ingredients I'm going to go get. When you open up those recipes, and I would even take a little picture, it's a note-taking app. You can take a little picture of the page or whatever if there's something I need to have there. When you open it up from the file folder, you can actually look in your file folder on this phone. They're HTML pages, and they embed the image. You could export them as ready-to-go HTML pages. And it's not exciting for most people, but I thought it was really fun to see back when standards were still standards. Then you could do other things with the data, except being sucked into the hole. I know you're not excited by it, but I thought it was.
Well, I have my own way of doing things. I still have issues when I try to. I mean, one of the things I like to use if you're going to do off-the-grid reviewing is using VPNs to do your business. So it actually protects you from certain kinds of worms, internet worms.
They used to have VPNs for this thing. I don't know. I don't know if you can still load the software if you can find it. I actually tried to boot up the Windows software to load a newer version or a different. Forget about it. None of this stuff works. It's never going to come back.
No, it's never going to come back. But anyway, back to the VPN. When you use one on your computer, the pretense of all these companies, Amazon included, is you're in England. Oh, you're in Canada. Oh, you're in Mexico or wherever you are pointing the VPN.
Right.
And And so, but no, I mean, Amazon should know because it says a bunch of Amazon cookies. It should know where I'm supposed to be. And even if I was in England, so let's say I'm in London,
you may not want
Amazon,
you may not want Google.nl.
I don't want Google.nl if I'm there. I don't want Google.nl if I'm using a Netherlands VPN. I don't want them to start making assumptions about where I am when they have cookies they put there to tell them where I am usually. And generally speaking, I want to use Google USA if I'm going to do a search, although I use Bing, which has the same problem. And even if I'm buying something on Amazon, I'm not buying, if I'm in England, I'm not buying it to ship it to Sheffield. I'm there to ship it back to where I live. So I want the American Amazon. So the pretense of this is extremely annoying.
Yes. Well, there's all kinds of, yeah. I mean, it really is just all Professor Ted stuff, really. I mean, he's warned us about all these problems that would crop up. It's just, it won't stop. Some hacker shut down Copenhagen's public city bike system, crashed all the bikes. I mean, how perverse is it? Well, you can't ride an analog device, can't get much more analog than a bicycle.
No,
because someone crashed the device that's on the bike itself, and I think he did it en masse.
I applaud you, sir.
Me too. He brought them all down. He brought them all down. I do want to remind people of the dolphin hack, and I want to make one more call out because I'd love to try it. The dolphin hack is, in case you hadn't heard about it, you can record regular commands for the talking tubes at very high frequency, play them back at high frequency, and they do respond to them. Their microphones are that sensitive. They can understand, and they think that it's you asking them to do something. It seems like a complicated process to encode your voice that way. I'd like to understand how to do it, because I'd love to put messages in here that you can't hear that are then triggering your devices. The biggest security hole of all of them. I think the New York Times just wrote another article about that, actually. And the government is, well, this is not really spying in the technology sense of the word, but we are trying to get you to give up more of your identity.
Well, do you ever feel when somebody's making recommendations to you about how to stay healthy, or when you need a prescription and you're wondering, is this the right drug for me at the right dose? A lot of what we do in medicine is one size fits all. Precision medicine is this opportunity to make things much more individualized and therefore more precise and more likely to result in a good outcome. But to get to that point, we need to collect a lot of data on a lot of people who are willing to partner with us in this remarkable adventure.
Partner with the government on this remarkable adventure. I should point out this is the director of the National Institute of Health on CBS this morning. And he has a remarkable adventure, a great project for us all to participate in.
Called All of Us. We named it that for a good reason. It is about all of us, and it's going to give us the information we currently lack.
How do people sign up for this program?
If you go to the internet site, joinallofus.org, join all of us, just one word, no spaces, you can find out what it takes to sign up. There'll be a number of educational steps there you'll need to go through. And then you'll have to decide whether you want to consent to take part in this.
Can you guess what it is yet, John?
DNA testing?
Very good.
People who sign up will then be given a chance to give blood samples and urine samples and answer other questionnaires and make their electronic health records available in a very secure database.
Wow. This is the best part. In a very secure database. So we just had about 40 seconds about what he wants, and it's going to be so fabulous. And then he gets into this whole secure database thing. The guy is a doctor. Maybe he on the side is a dude named Ben, but it's kind of like, back off a little, man. You're making me think about it too much.
It will allow researchers to begin to understand all of those things we don't know that will lead to better health care.
Dr. Francis Collins, I love your enthusiasm about the project. I am curious, though, about the privacy concerns that people have. We have a story in the news where a serial killer was just caught recently with the DNA from a relative. So how do you assure people that the information they're giving will be kept private?
So all of their information will be stripped of personal identifiers. There'll be no names or social security numbers or addresses or dates of birth. The information that researchers will want to look at will be anonymized. And researchers will be required to pledge that they will not seek to identify who these individuals are. And furthermore...
Wait a minute. If it's anonymized, how can you even seek to do that? But okay.
Based on some new legislation passed a little more than a year ago, this database will be protected from any kind of use by law enforcement who are browsing around trying to find potential criminals, as was the case with the Golden State Killer. So this is very well protected. The database is encrypted. Of course, we all worry about hackers and ways in which these kinds of databases may be attractive targets, and we've gone through hackathons. By the way, we've already enrolled as a beta test, sort of a trial of this, more than 26,000 people. They've gone through this process. They've agreed that it's worth it to sign up because they're going to find out a lot about themselves. And so far, the security of the system seems to be absolutely the best that can be obtained at the present time.
Be the best that you can be. The best it can be at current time. Don't worry. It's all good. No problem. Just go ahead. Spit in the tube. I do have one more, just because this guy irks the hell out of me. Even though he is a serious CEO, he's running a couple of big companies. It's the new Uber CEO who came out with this bull crap yesterday.
Oh, yeah, the new guy.
Bull crap.
We've all been there, stuck in bumper-to-bumper traffic, just wishing that we could fly over the congestion. Well, now Uber says that dream can turn into reality with Uber Air.
This is Bloomberg, I think.
Imagine flying instead of driving to your destination at up to 200 miles an hour just by using an app on your phone.
Just by using an app, all of a sudden I'll be flying at 2,000 feet at 200 miles an hour. Oh, I love apps.
We think cities are going to go vertical in terms of transportation.
We're going vertical, John.
And we want to make that a reality. So
Uber CEO Dara Khosrowshahi says this model of an air taxi shows the company's vision for the future of transportation. It's a world where passengers request an Uber Air on their phone and then head to these rooftop skyports where the aircraft take off.
We want to create the network around those vehicles so that regular people can take these taxis in the air for longer distances when they want to avoid traffic at affordable prices.
It's going to be really, really community friendly. And
Jeff Holden is Uber's chief product officer.
So it's using these what they call stacked rotors.
Stacked rotors.
To create vertical lift. So the thing lifts up kind of like a helicopter.
Magic.
But then when it gets to the right altitude, this rotor here kicks on. It actually creates forward thrust. And it uses the wings for lift.
Holden says they're still in the design phase. Unlike a helicopter, this aircraft will have clusters of small propellers and run on electricity, making it quieter, more efficient, and more affordable. Although piloted at first, the goal is for the flying taxis to become autonomous.
All right, couple things about this. It's in the development stage. 15 years at best to get any aircraft certified, certainly to fly over cities. 15 years at best. I know this business. Forget about it. I've tracked flying cars all my life.
This is just a publicity stunt.
No.
Yeah.
No, yes, technically it is, but there's a reason. There's a reason for it. They need money bad.
Oh, they are. Yeah, they are.
They did a secret meeting beginning of March at the St. Regis Hotel where debt investors were given a new pitch from Uber Technologies, Inc., and they're trying to raise $2 billion. They need money really badly. So they're doing anything to show this company has a future. And this guy is doing a full-on Elon Musk. Oh, yeah, we're going to fly. Cities are going, here's his vision. Cities are going vertical. Cities are going vertical, man. Don't you know that? That's my vision. The whole world is going to be like that. These guys need money.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah, do they need money? Is that the question?
Uber's model is an app that hooks to a centralized server that sends a message out to a bunch of Uber drivers who own their own cars, and they pay their own gasoline, and they get paid and they're told to go pick somebody. They can go pick somebody up. Somebody gets in the car, and then that person is billed by another computer for the ride, and then some piece of the action is given to the drivers.
And they lose $4 billion a year doing that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the question. How do you lose $4 billion a year doing what I just explained?
AI, man.
Where's the money going?
I don't know where it's going. They're doing something wrong. It seems.
To the tune of $4 billion a year, yes, I'd say so.
It's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money. Considering the model. The model is very simple.
The model is go in, break all the regulations, get everyone addicted.
Which makes it even cheaper.
Yes, and then get kicked out, and then have everybody petition to have you come back in. That is their model.
Yeah, that is their model, but where's the overhead in that?
I don't know.
Where's the capital expense in that? I don't see it.
Really, no idea. I really don't. I don't understand that either. But these things, are you kidding me? If they've built, so they've done and they've signed a deal with NASA. Could you be any more Elon Musk than that? And this guy, he walks like Ron Bloom on sneakers. He walks like Ron Bloom on sneakers. You know what I mean? Like uncomfortable in a way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you can just see
hemorrhoidal is the usual term.
The guy has run some big companies. There's no doubt about that.
Well, he knows what he's doing. But I can't imagine looking at the books and how they lose $4 billion on that business plan, on that business model.
Well,
and say, where's the money all going?
Do you want to double your losses? Get into aviation, schmuck. This guy has no idea what he's talking about. And seriously, to get that certified to fly above cities at 2,000 feet? Mm-hmm. So they did a tilt rotor concept. Like the Osprey, which keeps killing people.
Osprey, the worst plane in the world.
Keeps killing people all the time. It's it's a great idea, but this vertical takeoff and then transitioning to forward flight, they don't exactly have that same idea. But instead of using physics, well, they are using physics, but instead of using an actual aerofoil, they're really using rotor blades as it's incredibly inefficient, is what I'm trying to say. They're not, and they got this prototype, and you can sit in the prototype and jerk off. So you guys are so great. This is insane. And that the press they just go, I didn't hear one aviation expert asked anywhere.
Well, that's because I've griped about this before, and I won't gripe about it anymore.
Yeah, you will.
Which is the press is generalists that don't really know much. Since you're on aviation, I do have the story that just came out, smoke on a jet.
Smoke on a jet. Okay. An MD-90, no less.
There is also new video tonight of smoke filling the cabin of a passenger jet and the emergency evacuation that followed moments after their Delta flight landed in Denver. Look at this. Passengers scrambling for the emergency exits, some of them climbing right out onto the wing. Here tonight, ABC's David Curley.
Landed, taxiing to the gate, and suddenly smoke in the cabin coming out of the vents.
Ladies and gentlemen, please lower yourself, bend over, get as low as you can. If you have a blanket, place that over your nose and mouth.
The Delta crew fearful they have a fire. The smoke continues.
Flight attendants, evacuate.
The emergency exits open, slides deploy, and the 146 passengers who flew from Detroit start pouring out.
There's passengers on the airfield.
Passengers helping other passengers. And not just down the slides, they pile up on the wings of the MD-90 jet. A nightmare for air traffic controllers trying to keep other aircraft away.
We have a dire emergency off the east side.
Delta says tonight it was hydraulic fluid which dripped onto a hot power unit, causing all that smoke. Delta says there were only minor injuries, some smoke inhalation, and twisted ankles. It is apologizing for the incident and offering the passengers compensation.
Wow. David? Yeah, that would be pretty scary. Smoke on the plane.
He's got a leaking thing. It's dripping on some heater or something. It's smoking up the place.
Do you know why they asked?
You could probably smell.
Do you know why they asked the passengers to bend over as low as they can with their, in the brace position?
No, why did they ask them to bend over?
So then there's more chance of identifying the corpses through dental records because they'll probably stay intact. Yeah, you laugh. You laugh.
Probably true. Okay, so this jet was produced from 93 to 2000. They stopped making them. This is it has a minimum of 18 years old. I think there's a lot of these stories about aging gear that they're planted by the airline industry to get, or by the aviation industry, the plane makers, to get people to let's buy some new
planes. Buy some new planes.
Buy a new plane. They get better gas mileage. They're better for you.
Pretty much every piece of the aircraft has a time to live and is renewed. There are pieces like a hose, maybe, that they all have, has to be replaced, whether it's broken or not. So these planes can go quite a long time. But in this case, it was a maintenance issue, not a plane issue. But I can see what you're saying. And it's only a matter of time before they start advertising, we have the newest plane. We've got fresh aircraft. No leaky hoses
here. You don't want to be in these old clunkers. Plane's almost 20 years old. Could be an early one. You don't know. They started building them in 93. Thing could be 25 years old.
It doesn't matter. The pieces of it.
No, I know it doesn't matter. But the point is that if you can emphasize this sort of thing to the public.
Right.
Well, so who cares? I mean, you could fly with the DC-3. I mean, you could fly these planes for 50 years.
You have to do it this way. Artisanal. Small batch. That's what you have to do. Small batch airplane.
And in fact, you flew in the 787 and we were all gaga over the thing. Because it was so cool to be in.
I was all giddy.
They should make the public can demand being on newer planes and make these guys pony up.
Yeah. And then complain about the price.
Of course,
I had a wrap up clip for the OTG / your phone is spying on you segment.
Yeah,
I just wanted to play this because it's a good wrap up, and then we kind of don't have to revisit it as much. Some guy, Simon Sinek, talking about dopamine.
Dopamine comes with a warning. Dopamine is highly, highly, highly addictive. Here's some other things that release dopamine: alcohol, nicotine, gambling, your cell phone. Oh, you think I'm joking? Okay, we've all been told that, if you wake up in the morning and you crave a drink, you might be an alcoholic. Well, if you wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is check your phone before you even get out of bed.
You're an alcoholic.
You might be an addict. If you walk from room to room in your own apartment holding your telephone.
This is a laughter of recognition. This is very nice. Or if you're walking around in the shopping mall holding your phone.
Yeah, people holding their phone. They're just holding the phone all the time.
Yeah,
it's not in their pocket. It's not in their purse.
Yep.
They're holding it all the time.
You've been noticing this?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. It's like holding the bottle.
If you walk from room to room in your own apartment holding your telephone. You might be an addict. When you're driving in your car and you get a text and your phone goes beep. We hate email, true. We love the beep, the buzz, the ding. Oh. Right? You'll be there in 10 minutes, and yet you have to look at it right now. You might be an addict. And even if you read it and it says, are you free for dinner next Thursday? And you have to reply immediately, you can't wait the 10 minutes. You might be an addict. And for all you Gen Ys out there who like to think that you're better at multitasking because you grew up with the technology, then why do you keep crashing your cars when you're texting? You're not better at multitasking, you're better at getting distracted. In fact, if you look at the statistics, ADD and ADHD have, diagnoses of ADD and ADHD have risen 66% in the past 10 years. Okay, ADD and ADHD is a frontal lobe disorder, right? Are you telling me out of nowhere 66% of our youth have a frontal lobe problem? Where did that come from? No, it's a misdiagnosis, right? What are the symptoms of a dopamine addiction to technology? Distractibility, inability to get things done, easily distracted, shortness of attention. It's all the same thing, so we misdiagnose things. It's this. It's the addictive quality of dopamine. We can also get addicted to performance in our companies when all they do is give us numbers to hit, numbers to hit, numbers to hit, and a bonus you get, and a bonus you get, and a bonus you get. All they're doing is feeding us with dopamine, and we can't help ourselves. All we do is want more, more, more. It's no surprise that the banks destroyed the economy, because one of the things we know about about dopamine addict is they will do anything to get another hit, sometimes at the sacrifice of their own resources and their relationships. Ask any alcoholic, gambling addict, or drug addict. Ask them how their relationships are doing and if they've squandered any of their resources. It's an addiction. Dopamine is dangerous if it is unbalanced. It is hugely helpful when in a comfortable and balanced system, but when unbalanced, it's dangerous and it's destructive.
Woohoo!
Well, who was this person and where were they speaking?
Oh, I'd have to go into the clip. He was...
It's a guy. I'm not disagreeing with any of that. I mean, it makes nothing but sense to me.
His name is Simon Sinek, Sinek. He was speaking at some conference. I can look at it real quick. I can Bing it.
Bing it, man.
I'm Binging it, baby. Let's see. He's an author. He's from London. I'm sorry, British-American author.
Okay. So
motivational speaker and marketing consultant. Yeah, but I still like the rap.
That's good. Well, I found one. You talk about Lear.
Yes, the Lear Foundation.
Yeah, and they like to do scripts and
they consider
distort the public perception.
Yes, or as where's my ISO? Or as Kanye would say,
we are controlled by the media.
He's right.
Yes.
So I found some bad acting in the latest round of the show Elementary. So he had some plutonium stolen.
Wait a minute. Tell me what is. I do not watch these programs. It's your beat. Tell me about the show Elementary.
Elementary is a modern Sherlock Holmes whose name is Sherlock Holmes, and Watson is a woman.
Ah.
So that's the basic premise.
Is she just like Watson in the book? Only a woman?
No, because Watson in the book was actually telling the stories.
Ah, okay.
It never really tells the stories. Gotcha. It's presented as a normal TV mystery.
Yeah.
With using misdirection, it doesn't normally use the classic mystery formula is the first person you meet in the story is, and you don't find as much of that on Elementary as you would other shows. But in this case, the script angle was, and it was a MacGuffin again, was this theft of plutonium that could either make a dirty bomb and not quite make a real bomb, but a dirty bomb for sure. And who are we going to blame? Well, we can't blame Muslim extremists for sure.
Oh, is that my cue for the first clip?
And you might as well play the first clip, and then I'll get into the second clip, which really it takes it to a new level.
You were right about Wisher. He was using the bunker as his workshop. No sign of the plutonium, but it's pretty damn obvious he built an explosive device sometime within the last week or so. Unfortunately, it's gone.
Well, we gotta find Wisher. Get him to tell us who he built it for and where it went.
That's not gonna happen. Wisher's dead, shot through the eye. Guess whoever he was working for didn't want any loose ends.
May I?
Yeah.
Look at the tattoo. 88 is prison gang code. H is the 8th letter of the alphabet. So 28 stands for HH.
Hitler.
As in Heil Hitler.
That's great. Our guy wasn't just a bomb maker. He was in a white power gang.
Watson, does your phone also have an app for locating white supremacists? Because a group of them may now be in possession of a dirty bomb, and our best hope of finding them has a bullet in his brain.
Wow, we had every other possible... It's neo-Nazis. Trump.
Yeah. Well, it goes back, and then they take it, and somehow all these neo-Nazis in the second clip have been determined to be Christian nationalists.
Well, of course.
Yeah, they're Christians of some sort.
Yes.
Onward.
Knowing paying for protection and that he would be done with them once he was out.
No one's ever done with the prison gang. They promise you protection while you're locked up and then force you to work for them for the rest of your life.
This gang, how extremist are they? Well, they're part of the so-called Christian identity movement. They preach that all non-whites need to be exterminated to usher in a new heavenly kingdom on earth.
So basically the American equivalent of the Taliban.
Oh man. Good catch.
Yeah.
Oh, brother.
Yeah, good stuff. Good work, Lear.
I'm going to show my support by donating to No Agenda. Imagine all the people who could do that. Oh, yeah, that'd be fab. Yeah, on No Agenda in the morning.
All right, we don't have as many donations we'd hoped for, considering that with the Mother's Day offer.
Yeah.
Which we got, I think, 5 people. We determined that.
Well, people.
And by the way, I checked this against last year's exact same show.
Yes.
And we got. Let me see what the number is in the bottom.
Well, I think we determine every year that people hate their mom.
Well, this year we had 32 total donations above 50, and last year we had over 60. So we have gone to half speed, doubling the mom hate.
Hating mom since 2008.
It's unbelievable. So it's a very poor showing, and it would make. I mean, Mother's Day is coming up on the next show. It is Mother's Day,
and we don't even have mothers anymore.
Apparently not.
Well,
I
guess
we do some stuff for dogs. Maybe we can make get some donations.
Our moms are up there on the cloud, rolling their eyes, John.
Going, oh my God, these guys, they can't even get moms to be recognized. So let's thank a few people for 1032. Anonymous, $100. Sir Brian Warden, $100. Got some home selling karma. That's good. Kevin Thomas, Smyrna, Georgia, 9009, which is poop.
Yes, poop. The poop
Timothy
donation.
Seawards in Farmingham, New Hampshire, 8008. He's looking for a polygraph karma. We'll give you that at the end. Because he's going to be I don't know why he needs karma for polygraphs.
He says his attempt to become a police officer and end my time as a cube slave. He's going to be a narc. Nice.
Sir Sam Sealer, 8008. There's the two. And we did have that was an Easter egg. Nobody picked it up.
What was the Easter egg for the boob?
Oh, maybe no. The Easter egg was in the Never mind. It wasn't the Easter egg. He didn't do a boob this year.
Sir Sam does have a call out. He says, urgent douchebag call out. Found out that my brother, from my brother, that Michael Gallagher still listens to the show, but I've never heard him donate.
Douchebag.
All right.
We should douchebag as a man overboard brother.
Douchebag. There you go.
Sir Brian Green of Ham, 7373.
73s.
He has a sign that Eric did not put in here. Anonymous, $64. He also needs jobs karma. We'll put that at the end. Michael Stulak, 5518. Sir John Adema in Aurora, Colorado, 5130. Sir John, Black Knight. Tyler Stewart, 5130. Now, these are the mom's donations. 5130, 513. That's the date of Mother's Day.
All right. Well, you have to read Sir John's. That's because now we got to read them.
We do have to call out the mom.
Yeah.
My wife, Arnett Adema. Love you both. If time would love a MILF, like a MILF jingle.
No, we'll do a MILF jingle for all the MILFs.
You might as well, because everyone's asking for one. Because these guys aren't thanking their moms, they're thanking their wives.
Yeah, just to get the MILF jingle on the air.
Yeah, but Tyler Stewart, same thing. The MILF of my dreams is Amanda Stewart. Robert Vogel, another 5113 in Franklin, North Carolina. Happy Mother's Day to my mom, who's 86 years young, but unfortunately will never allow me to
hit her in the mouth.
Her in SoCal this weekend.
To hit her in the mouth. Oh. So nice to be able to come visit her in SoCal this weekend. Well, your spreadsheet is off the hook.
No, I didn't move it over. I just guessing. Nathan Miller Foster, 5130. That's our last of our huge list.
Wow.
Of people saying hello to their moms. Happy Mother's Day to Linda Lee, to the mom who took care of us and worked a job, joined the Rotary, set me up with extra Shakespeare lessons, named my brother after Chaucer and the magical river in Egypt, named me after the prophetic holy works, and made sure we grew up on Langle. I don't know. I'm weak there. Tolkien and Lewis. Sinclair, I guess. I love you, Mom. We'll make sure we continue to learn about the great works of fantasy and philosophy.
So humanity grows in virtue. I love you, Mom. XOXO.
One guy
Who said I love you, Mom?
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what?
Okay.
Wait until your mom's gone, yo.
Okay, here we go. $50 donors, name and location. We're almost done. Joseph Barnes in Oakland. Yeah, New Oakland are good. Drew Mochak in El Cerrito. Hey, Drew. David Schlesinger in Rosemont, Illinois. Jonathan Meyer in Xenia, Ohio. Robert Decaney in Fairfax, Virginia. Hello, Fairfax. Edward Mazurek in Memphis, Tennessee. Joseph Pumphrey in Brandon, Mississippi. Benjamin Kimbrell. Larry Hay in Mooresville, North Carolina. Kevin McLean. And last but not least, Kyle Meyer in Atlanta, Georgia. That's our group for show 1032, our producers. He had 32 donations, over 50. We had over 60 last year. And I didn't check the year before, but I'm sure it was more than this. So,
well, as I said,
think we're losing listeners. They're man overboard. We got enough of those two guys. Maybe. I think it's the OTG thing.
What do you mean?
Nah, I'm just kidding.
Wait.
Just kidding.
As long as you can blame someone.
I'm just kidding.
Yes. Well, I question things all the time.
I think the OTG segment's it's unusual in that it actually is valuable information.
Yeah, I'm just
opposed to just deconstructing these douchebags, which is not that hard to do.
Yeah, exactly. Well, we want to thank everybody who did donate, especially those for their moms. We'll do a little thing for your wives / moms. And also thank you, everybody who came in under $50, which is people on our subscriptions, the night layaways. You definitely need to check out all of what we have. And as the rules also state, under 49, we do not, under 50, do not mention for people who want to donate anonymously. And of course, you can support us again on Sunday, before Sunday preferably. Remember, it's Mom's Day, Mother's Day. Go to
Dvorak.org/NA. That's one mother I'd like to.
Jobs, 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 and jobs. Let's vote for jobs.
You've got karma.
And as often happens, the jingle is longer than the birthday list, but we do need to say happy belated birthday to Sir Gregory Birch. He celebrated on the 6th of May. Sorry about the donation. It came in a little bit late, and the note came in late, but a happy birthday, belatedly. And Sir Kevin Dills, Viscount of Charlotte. He turns 32 on May 12th. Happy birthday from everybody here at the best podcast in the universe. Birthday, yeah. And then we have a daming today, a rare daming. I got my sword.
Okay. Here, I got it. It's on the floor.
Sure. Theater of the mind. It always tricks you, doesn't it? Gina Brown, it's time. That's our girl from Texas. She needs to step up here on the podium next to the round table of the Knights and the Dames, as you have supported the No Agenda Show in the amount of $1,000 or more. You've been doing it for a while, and we really appreciate it. So I hereby pronounce the Dame Gina, Dame of the No Agenda Round Table. And for you, we have, as always, rabbit meat and goat milk, Dr. Pepper and Quick Handy, boobs and stinky tofu, cold brew, coffee and cannabis. We've got onion rings and ice cream, English muffins and butter and honey, Captain Morgan's and women with a questionable reputation. We've got breast milk and pablum, ginger ale and gerbils, and mutton and mead. Dame Gina, head on over to noagendanation.com/rings, and Eric DeShill, I'm sure, will be happy to help you out once you hand over your measurements. I did want to mention that the Pocket Cast app was acquired by NPR.
Uh-oh.
There
goes our show.
Lee Masters, Jarl Moan. Stop doing things without talking to us. I mean, this is the dumbest acquisition. I don't know what he paid. And because I'm going to recommend everybody not use it. Go to Overcast. This is an outrage. Because the only reason they want it is to put spyware in there to find out what you're doing.
Well, they had no other way of finding out. The system doesn't allow it.
No, well, Apple, of course,
Well, the Apple's doing something, but their numbers are like only about. It's very limited what data where they're collecting the data.
Yes, but it's just like, wow, really, guys, is that what you're going to do? That's your big genius vision. So sad. And thanks to you, I have learned that I possibly have dysgraphia.
How am I involved in this?
You brought up cursive writing on a previous show.
Ah, yes.
And one of our producers said, hey, Adam, your Tourette's may be related, or you're actually the other way around. Your poor writing skills may be related to your Tourette's. And dysgraphia, dysgraphia or written language deficits is a common issue for students with Tourette syndrome. This interferes with and sometimes prevents them from being able to transfer thoughts into writing.
Oh, wait a minute. That's not the same thing. I thought your problem was you were just scrawl. It was scrawl. It wasn't that you couldn't transfer your thoughts into writing.
Well, this is the explanation. Handwriting can be messy, difficult to read, unevenly spaced, and includes challenges with proper spelling, punctuation, and capitalization. Some students may be obsessed with writing perfectly, resulting in taking an excessive amount of time to accomplish a task, yes, while other students rush through written assignments. The student may write very little or refuse to write altogether. What they're saying is that you actually can't communicate the thought properly from your brain to your hand to make it right language, and therefore it's like short-circuited, and so that's why it gets all messy, and you're not able to get the data there. I'm a mess. I'm a mess.
You're a poor thing.
Well, no, I'm a victim, so I can set up a Patreon for my dysgraphia. I need a Patreon for my dysgraphia. I mean a GoFundMe. That's what I need. Help me out. Help me learn how to write.
Like I said, you can go to an art store and buy books on calligraphy and penmanship and writing, so you can actually develop a nice hand. We get letters.
You don't understand. I have a physical condition.
Yeah.
Dysgraphia?
No, it's a physical excuse. You're using it. You're leveraging.
You better believe it. I'm going to try. Got to get that GoFundMe money. Get the Benjis. Yes, I'll see if that helps. I'm sure I can train myself.
Well, it's not that important, but you can at least read cursive.
Yes, I can. That's true.
So
yeah,
it's really that's the part that's missing from these poor students. I think you're super handicapped if you can't read cursive.
Yeah. Here's something rare.
Ask John. He knows what's going on.
Ask John. The question is, who is being sued?
Barbershops around
That's not the question. What are they being sued for is the question.
Australia are under attack.
I was actually very shocked at the time.
I worked hard here, I don't need this kind of bullshit, to be honest.
Barbershops were traditionally a place where men got a haircut.
There it is. What could it be in Australia? What's the problem?
Women are wanting to get a cheap haircut and at the barbershops, and they're not getting the service they demand.
After all,
our staff are not qualified in cutting female hair.
So you can imagine the shock when Joy Arnott at her Darwin shop copped this.
A call from the Anti-Discrimination Board one day,
saying they were investigating a complaint from a woman who'd come into the shop with her boyfriend who was getting a trim.
I don't think it's in any way discriminatory. I just think that she didn't think that men are entitled to their own space.
Joy is petrified her small business could now be in financial peril.
I was speechless, lost for words, as someone could think that this is actually discriminatory when we're a barbershop and there's plenty of other hairdressers that they can go to.
This is actually an ongoing problem. We have females coming into our barbershop all the time asking for their haircut.
But recently he had one woman who wouldn't take no for an answer.
We also offered her guidance in where she can go along the street and find a hairdresser, which we'll be happy to do for her. but she insisted that she wanted a haircut here.
It resulted in a discrimination complaint, but the Victorian office dismissed it because Goran says he wasn't insured for female grooming.
So she took it to human rights.
No such luck for Sydney barber Sam Rahim, who claims he recently told a female customer,
I'm sorry, I'm not qualified to do it. We just cut men's hair. And I pointed out to the closest hairdresser, which is literally 2 shops down.
He's now had to engage lawyers.
So it's cost me a fortune.
Back at Darwin's Star Barber, this male customer points out,
I don't try and go to Fernwood.
One of the many female-only gyms that have popped up in recent times.
Women's gyms have a legal exemption, so it's pretty much, I guess, this is going to keep coming up until barbershops either get a legal exemption or else we're forced to cater to all genders.
There will come a day when women just see us on the street and you look at them and they're just going to tase you. I mean, this is really, everything is hate against men. Just hate.
Well, I agree, and I think there's some truth to that, but it's not a big... Why don't they just cut the woman's hair as easy money and give them, a men's...
Well, one guy said he wasn't insured for it. I don't know if that's true. And he says, I don't know. I mean...
That's bull crap.
No.
It's men's space. The other one, men need their own space. It's a barber shop. I guess in some old 30 cents of things, and men like to go to the barber shop and gossip, but I just don't see the deal here. I don't see why these guys can't cut the women's hair in some sort of a... they know how to cut hair.
No, women's hair is very... Look, I'm a hair guy. Women's hair is very different. It's a totally different approach. I know, because for a long time I had women's hair.
A hairdo, but if you just want to have a chopped off and get a kind of a boy's haircut, which I think some women like.
I don't know about California. In Texas, you have to be licensed. You're licensed for a particular kind of hair. For male or female, it's the same with pedicures. There's licensing and stuff. You can't just open up a barber shop and just cut anyone's hair. I don't think you're correct in that. I know a lot about hair.
I know you do. You're like a hair guy.
Yeah.
But I don't think that a barber. Well, I try to phrase it correctly.
Can we just assume? Can we just assume the women just want to make a stink?
Yeah,
okay.
But again, I think the barbers are making a stink.
Yeah, and I think they're right. I think they're right to make you Judas. Are you a man? Are you an old white man?
Take the side of the women.
Yeah, what are you doing?
Me too.
Oh, are you wearing your pussy hat right this very moment? Take that thing off. Here's a social justice warrior gone awry. Fabulous piece. You may have heard it or seen it around. I mean, when I saw this, I saw it happen live. It's April Ryan, our favorite social justice warrior, White House correspondent for the Urban Radio Networks. What station is that in Austin? I'd like to hear. I'd like to listen to what she does on air.
Don't have one in Austin.
We've got R&B and urban stations here.
Urban Radio Network. I'll look it up.
Yeah, let me know if that's in Austin. Listen to what she had to say about Melania Trump.
Obviously, some pretty painful reality in the First Lady taking on cyberbullying and being kind online. And the First Lady is well aware of that.
Yeah, she's well aware of her husband's cyberbullying. He's considered by some, well, many, I would say, in different sectors, one of the biggest bullies. He will call you out in a moment's notice. And she stood in front of him and basically said she wants to show young people how it's done and do it right, and they will pick up those habits. I wonder if the president will change. But there are realities. There are a lot of realities that she's dealing with. This is a first lady who is not culturally American, but she is learning the ways. And this is not just an American issue. These are not.
She's not culturally an American. What? How many years do you have to be here before you're culturally an American?
I have no idea what she's talking about. What difference does it make?
But just to even come up with that.
That's the Urban Radio Network. It's one of these little bitty networks that I don't think.
Well, it was on CNN, to be fair. I mean, this is where she's spouting this nonsense. It wasn't on her own little urban network. I wouldn't bring that to the table.
She's the DC. Okay, April Ryan's this DC bureau chief, so she's right down the street from CNN.
Yeah,
in DC, and she probably gets on a lot.
Yeah. all the time. I have an entry for the Trump rotation.
Oh. Okay.
This is one we didn't have on there?
You sure?
I'm not 100% sure. I did my own quick compilage, only I think 4 or 5 examples because I ran out of time.
Or your plan B. I don't have any plan B for nuclear.
Well, I just want to be clear. The president, Frank Macron, is absolutely right. There is no plan B.
UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres said there's no plan B for the two-state solution.
With a complete agreement that there is no plan B.
You kill the deal. What's your plan B?
Trump has no plan B.
You're absolutely correct. That is not on the rotation. It will be put on as soon as the show's over.
No plan B.
Yeah, that's a good catch.
It's everywhere.
I actually believe that we had the definitive list that would have nothing missing from it ever. But apparently you found a new thing. No plan B. Which is dumb, by the way.
Well, it also has a little side connotation of RU-486, which is the known as the morning after pill. The brand name is Plan B.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. I mean, that I don't think anyone intends that.
Yeah, subconscious.
But
that's what.
Yeah, I bet Plan B.
I
think the makers of Plan B are loving it. More than likely.
Yeah, it looks like a native advertising. Okay, so here's the story of the week. I wanted to play this last week. It's one of these local stories that you have to just go, those poor people. This is the Bay Area couple story.
Lonnie Estate subdivision have been destroyed. One Bay Area family moved to the Big Island a few months ago from another burn zone in wine country. KPX5's Don Lynn tells us the eruption has now put them close to disaster yet again.
This couple moved out of Sonoma County after the North Bay wildfires, only to find lava now flowing outside of their new home in the Leilani Estates.
You see that mailbox? Right down the street.
Like, you couldn't make this stuff up.
I just feel kind of the same. I just hope everybody's okay. I hope everybody gets out because I know that there's people that are still in Leilani, just like there were people that didn't want to leave their homes during the fire, until it was too late.
Here it is, everybody. See that?
Zoe and Kalina Kaloha evacuated with their kids and Zoe's mom after a fissure opened up on their street. Kalina took the cell phone video from his driveway where a couple of 100 feet away, lava was spewing into the air.
The ground under where I was standing was shaking. You could feel the ground moving. Like there was a constant vibration. The sound was intense. It was loud. I was in a panic. I wasn't thinking straight.
In October, the family bought and moved to this house in an area known as the Leilani Estates. And that's where the volcanic activity is happening. This is aerial footage of their neighborhood. At least 5 houses destroyed.
Yeah. With all the stormy coverage.
Snake bit.
With all the stormy coverage, it's almost like Hawaii isn't even a part of America. It's like a toss away. It's some lava.
Some of the best stuff, when they show you what's going on in the Big Island, it's astonishing. This thing, it's like the whole island is cracking in half. The volcano decided to move.
Yeah.
I know. Here's where we used to be. Let's move over here.
It's so much bigger than is being portrayed or is given any attention to. We don't even know what's happening in our own country because of.
But when you do a stormy and this phony baloney
Avenatti. And of course we have to tell you, and man, we are from the future. I don't know how we do it, but here we are talking about the Scouts. We get all these notes from everybody, from Eagle Scouts, like our whole audience. Well, it could be our whole audience. Maybe it's just Eagle Scouts listening. I don't know. Eagle Scouts everywhere, and they're talking about the Mormon Church, how that integrates, the deep history between the two, and there you go, boom. Mormon Church breaks all ties with Boy Scouts, ending its 100-year relationship, which they'll do at the end of 2019. It's like we foresaw this stuff coming.
And it didn't take 2 geniuses to do this. It's just the information we get from feet on the street.
Are you trying to make it easy for the M5M to emulate us, or
they care?
There's a couple of good Eagle Scout notes in the show notes if you want to take a look at them. They've been anonymized. But yeah, it looks like 425,000 Boy Scouts will definitely be gone, and I think more and more are leaving now. But it's interesting to see how the corporation BSA, how they really buckled to pressure, and also there's some Eagle Scouts who said, it was always in the Boy Scouts that had a lot of experiences, or that we have some with experiences, who felt out of place because they were atheists or just weren't into the religion thing, man. And they got a lot of pressure from that. So it sounds like there's a lot more to it. And maybe it's time for someone, that would be a good book. I would definitely read a book over, if it was about scouting and all these types of issues that it's gone through in 100 years.
When I was a Boy Scout, there was no religious angle to it.
I didn't notice that either, but I have a couple notes from Eagle Scouts.
But I guess in the Mormon country in Utah, there probably is.
Yeah, I'm sure. From the Ministry of Truthiness, I received, I don't know why exactly, it must be on some list somewhere, but I received a note from the Daily Caller Foundation, which is Tucker Carlson and Neil Patel. And, so I didn't know much about their organization, but, they have the way they do their news is truly value for value model, I think, kind of. It's one of the stupidest. I mean, Tina looked and she said, what the hell is that? It's 6 pages, double-sided. And she said, you can't pitch anyone with that. And I said, nah, I'm interested. So I read through it. I'm like, oh, these guys are doing some interesting things, until I got to this. Our fact checker, so that, talking about all the things they've done in 2017, their investigative group, their policy reporting group, and then our fact checker program was implemented as a response to the fake news and fact checking dominating the news media. The problem is, routinely used sites to verify facts such as Snopes and PolitiFact promote a left-wing agenda. Our fact checker program is loyal to neither people nor parties, only the truth. And while the fact-checking industry continues to grow, there are still countless untrue assertions that go unchecked, ultimately becoming fake news. The problem is exacerbated by Facebook's decision to rely exclusively on these liberal fact-check organizations, often purging truth, conservatives, and free market concepts from the marketplace of ideas. I'm happy to report that recently our checkyourfact.com has joined the small circle of 8 international fact-checking network approved fact-check organizations in the United States. The IFCN, a unit of the Poynter Institute, is a Facebook and Google approved fact-checking database aggregation resource used to combat fake news, to verify facts used by influencers, and to stop the promulgation of misinformation. This is where I said I will never give money to these guys ever. How dare they participate in this program under the guise of we need to balance it out? This is completely Orwellian. This is exactly the problem. And Google was all over it with their new Google News product. They're going to filter it through this international fact-check network, the IFCN, and things will be either demoted or promoted. The same for Facebag. You are now literally part of the Ministry of Truth, Tucker Carlson. Very disappointing.
Well, it was a foregone conclusion. And, of course, this is another example of why no agenda is needed more than ever, because we don't have this overhead.
And we have an audience that fact-checks us. Thank you.
Yeah, and they did. And let me mention something I think is kind of lost in the shuffle here over the last few years. In the past, I would say the New York Times for sure, the Washington Post, I never wrote for them, but I would doubt that they didn't have one. Most of the magazines, almost all the magazines, as a matter of fact, used to have in-house fact checkers. Yep. And the story never went to print without it going through the fact check department.
I've been called once or twice by a New York Times fact checker.
Yeah. It hasn't been anytime soon or anytime recently or recently.
No.
As far
15,
as I know,
20
the
years
fact
ago.
checkers have all been fired from all these magazines, and you're kind of expected to do your own fact checking. And fact checking used to consist of making sure that when somebody said something, well, I think that's a bad idea, they would ask them if that quote is correct. Did you actually say that?
Right.
And you could say to them, well, I did, but it's out of context. And they'll pull the quote out. They say, no, you can't use it.
Yep.
And they would add everything from your age to all the other things. They would check on these facts. And then the thing would go to print and it would be more accurate. Now it's just a mess out there. That's because, by the way, I'll go on since you left me a big hole with a pause. This is the thing that's happened to all media except broadcast media. Well, even broadcast media to some extent, but not podcasting, is that they have cheapened the product over the years because they've had an advertising squeeze, and they've lost their classified business because they're too stupid to realize that it was important.
Craigslist, the internet is one big classified system.
And so they took a beating, and instead of like starting to fire middle management or doing anything like that, they fired reporters and they got rid of the fact check. This is like what happened at Tech TV when I was there. They started cutting back, so they stopped putting the free milk in the refrigerator. That was one of the huge cutbacks. They're going to save so much money from that. And then who's the first person they fire? What's the first groups they fire? First, they fire the wardrobe girl who is getting paid nothing.
Then the lighting guy.
No. Then the makeup artist.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes. When did teleprompter finally go?
Well, they never did. I think I was out of there by then. But the makeup artists were so important because we had a bunch of on-air women. And I don't want to go into. I don't even need to go to executive mode. This is just a fact. We had a lot of smart women who didn't know how to do stage makeup.
Right.
And so they make themselves up. It was horrible.
They look like hookers.
And with the makeup women in there, they'd sit women in this chair for sometimes up to 2 hours, and she'd come out and she'd look perfect for broadcasting. Beautiful. But no, fire them.
Okay. And then after the makeup lady?
Oh, I don't know. Then it's up for grabs. I mean,
lighting guy usually comes next.
Usually there's sound guys too, but usually all good operations have one super lighting guy who knows the business. He knows how to light things. It's not trivial just to stick a bunch of lights up and shine them on people.
And how about wardrobe? Or was the makeup lady also wardrobe?
No, wardrobe was first.
Oh, wardrobe was first. Right.
Then makeup. Yeah. And then I don't know that they fired lighting because I don't know that they ever had lighting.
Yeah.
It was just pathetic. But this is the way they do it. And so the newspapers, instead of hiring more people and doing a better job of making a better product, they made a less good product. And then they got worse. And so then they started to wonder what was going on here. Well, you're taking your whole business and you're ruining it. Anyway.
Yeah, nice rant.
It's okay.
What were we even talking about?
I was just complaining about fact checking. We're talking about fact checking.
Yeah, fact checking. Just on the fact checking tip, we're often laughed at when we talk about crisis actors. But more, I would say the word crisis actor has been conflated with, actual actors who feign to have their leg blown off. And then, the crisis actors who are riled up to demonstrate something, to protest something. And now we have one that is very proud of the work they do. Actually, there was a nice little bit on NPR's Here and Now about crowds on demand.
Remember when President Trump held his very first campaign rally, the one where he came down the escalator at Trump Tower? Well, many of the people in that crowd were reportedly paid actors. The Trump campaign denied those claims, but it came to mind because of news from New Orleans, where the news site The Lens reports that actors were paid to attend city council meetings last year to support a new power plant. They were reportedly paid up to $200 and would wear the same orange shirts that read "Clean Energy, Good Jobs, Reliable Power." They call this tactic astroturfing. How unusual is it?
So I think it's more common than I thought, at least. I mean, just looking into these two guys, it seems like this is kind of a full-time gig for them. They seem to travel around the country. I should have mentioned before, but they both appear to be from Texas. I got one of them on the phone for about 2 minutes before he hung up, and in that time he said,
I love the disdain. Texas. Like we're a bunch of assholes down here. Texas. And I love how it starts off with, well, Trump probably used them.
Of course, you got to get Trump and Texas.
Yeah. He did a significant amount of work on the East Coast in New York, and that he could connect me to stories up there, things he was working on. In Facebook messages that we got, we see Garrett talking about, wanting to be sent back to New Orleans. This is the favorite place we've ever been sent. And, like I point out in the article, it seems that they work for this company called Crowds on Demand, which is an LA-based company that really openly advertises what they do, which is providing bodies to protests or city council meetings. I mean, they even specifically point out that they can provide speakers at city council meetings. So they're very open about this, which was surprising for me to find out. So, how common it is, I'm not sure. But since the article has been published, people have been reaching out to me, especially advocates within the oil and gas industry, saying they've seen the same orange shirts in different cities in the U.S. So, yeah, I think we really don't know. There's one UCLA professor that I quoted in the piece. He estimates that 40% of Fortune 500 companies have some sort of crowdsourcing company on their payroll. So, it could be way more widespread than
more common than you might think.
So not that this is a big surprise to no agenda producers worldwide, but it's nice to be able to point to something with an actual fact as approved to the International Fact-Checking Network. Thank you, Tucker Carlson. So crowdsondemand.com. Your home for protests, rallies, advocacy, audiences, PR stunts, and political events. Services available nationwide.
Yeah, you can. It's not that hard to do this stuff. It's not that hard to buy a crowd, and it's not that hard to buy a bunch of pretty girls. There was a company out of Atlanta that used to do parties.
This is your beat, indeed. Yes.
Well, back in the day, there were these party girls, and they were hired. They weren't hired as hookers. They were hired as really good-looking women to liven up a party. And a lot of companies, and they'd bring in about 20, 30 of these women who were and they were well-mannered. They weren't, how you doing? They weren't stupid. And they were really attractive, and it did liven up the party. I mean, because all these, men are.
Yeah. Well, here's some of their services under what we do. We will spice up any event with paparazzi, adoring fans, and flash mobs. Select an A-list experience, and we'll tell you how to do it, where to do it, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, what's the price?
Oh, I'm sure. Well, it's outrageous. A flash mob is cool, though.
Probably not that outrageous. It's probably not as expensive as you think.
I have an idea for a flash mob. Whether your organization is lobbying to gain approval of a project, move forward a legislative initiative, bring additional pressure within complex litigation, or trying to see swift and effective action in any other way, we can set up protests, coordinate phone banking initiatives, and create nonprofit organizations to advance your agenda. Damn! I want in. That's great.
Well, there's the other kind of crisis actor. There's a guy that showed up on the news, the Nazi, running for governor in California.
Well, yeah.
And I have a clip of the guy.
Yeah.
But the guy he's just obviously an actor. He's wearing sunglasses, so you can't quite recognize him. And his whole thing is it's one of those kind of the reverse psychology thing where you want to humiliate the Republican Party. So you as a Democrat, you're a Democrat strategist, you're a dirty trickster.
You're like, hey, I'll be like a crazy Republican.
So you create this crazy Republican who's spitting on the Israeli flag, and he's got all these stupid videos that apparently YouTube had to take down. But let's listen to him on the local news.
The Republican Party, the GOP of California, is nothing but Zionist stooges.
California Republicans react after a self-proclaimed neo-Nazi running for U.S. Senate as a Republican makes a strong showing in the polls. Hi, friends. Thanks for joining us. I'm Deion Lim.
I'm Eric Thomas. GOP leaders are denouncing Patrick Little and are set to make a unified statement against him.
Now, Little was even kicked out of the state's Republican convention this weekend.
ABC 7 News reporter Cornell Bernard is live in our newsroom with more on this story. Cornell?
Eric, Deion, no reaction yet from Senator Feinstein's campaign. She's seeking her 5th term in office, but the Republican who wants to challenge her has essentially been banned by the GOP.
Patrick Little here. I'm your leading Republican candidate in the latest poll.
Self-proclaimed anti-Semite and neo-Nazi Senate candidate Patrick Little posted this video on his website after being ejected from California's Republican convention in San Diego Saturday.
They just had me expelled from the building because I won't serve Israel.
Little is seen standing on an Israeli flag and even spits on it.
J-E-W. Those are not 3 letters that start the word judiciary.
Many of his online video clips like this one have been removed by YouTube due to their offensive nature. Little, who claims to be from Albany, is running against Democrat Senator Dianne Feinstein. A recent poll by Survey USA put him in second place with 18% of the vote. Despite that, California's RNC told us in a statement, "We are about to have a board vote on a resolution to condemn this guy. He has no support in the California GOP." Little's campaign website identifies him as a white advocate who favors limiting representation of Jews in government.
Someone like this man comes along and sees the opportunity, only needs a few thousand votes.
USF political professor James Taylor isn't surprised by Little's strong showing because California's Republican Party often won't challenge seats in blue districts.
Oh, this Mr. Little cannot win here in California, but what he can do is use the number 2 position for a platform to raise his anti-Semitic profile.
Patrick Little did not respond to our request for an interview. In San Francisco, Cornell Bernard, ABC 7 News.
Finally, I can play it. Yeah, there you go. Nice. Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. He needs to be unmasked, this man.
Yeah, well, he wouldn't show, if he didn't show up for the interview, we were never going to hear from him again.
Right.
It was just a one shot. Actor, just to make the Republicans look like douchebags. Very common. Good trick.
And we will reveal more of how it really works as we continue to guard your reality. But beware, we have links to Russian oligarchs, so just want to disclaim that up front. We'll be back on Sunday with another
Mother's Day.
Yes. Remember your mom at Dvorak.org/NA. Another edition of the best podcast in the universe. Until then, I'll make sure we work on John's Skype. And I'm coming to you from downtown Austin, Texas, capital of the Drone Star State, FEMA Region 6 on the governmental maps in the 5x9 Cludio in the morning, everybody. I'm Adam Curry.
And from Northern Silicon Valley, where it's Mother's Day on Sunday. Everybody should get in on the action and thank your mom. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here. I'm John C. Dvorak.
Until Sunday, as always, adios, mofos! I need a cap.
Taxi!
Isn't she lovely? Isn't she wonderful? I bought a puppy less than 1 minute ago. We never wanted to have a kid, so a doggy is what we did. Isn't she lovely? Our new pug. Isn't she pretty? And she came toilet trained, unlike a baby. Yes, we can keep her chained. And if we tie of her around, we'll just go and have her put down. Isn't she lovely? Our new pug.
Oh, Fluffy Hillary, it's the 4th pair of shoes you've chewed this week. You must be really tired. I think you need a really long sleep.
It's a war on man. Hallelujah, war on man. Amen. I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna jump for joy. I don't need no toxic man on you, soy boy. It's the war on man.
I'm just leaving the briefing room, and I had to decompress.
This is how democracies die.
Justice to their dreams.
A resignation?
Let it end now.
Real American leadership and real American power is not shown by our ability to blow things up.
Saudi Arabia and Israel, Saudi Arabia, Emirates, Qatar.
I am ready, willing, and able.
Deception and lies become normal.
Peace.
Bless the
peace.
Bless the
To be best.
Peace.
Bless the
peace.
Bless the
Compassion and self-esteem.
Nobody can do their work or get their education without these. Your smartphone is an extension of you. And
brick by brick, over a number of years,
they refuse.
It doesn't impact people, and they end up not really caring.
And that's fine. I'd probably say the same thing if I was in their position.
Isn't that crazy?
I mean, he's stupid. He's a punk. He's a dog. He's a pig. He's a con. A bullshit artist. A mutt. Who doesn't know what he's talking about. Pig, punk, con, stupid. He's a punk, a mutt. A mutt who doesn't know what he's talking about. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face. He's a national disaster. He's an embarrassment to this country. It makes me so angry that this country has gotten to this point, that this fool, this bozo, has wound up where he has. He talks how he wants to punch people in the face. Well, I'd like to punch him in the face.
I was on opioids. Hey, everyone listen to this, please. I was on opioids. Hey, everyone listen to this, please. Because I was drugged the fuck out. We are controlled by the media. You know this is used to kill genius. I went from taking 2 pills to taking 7. 7. Today, it all changes. We need to be free thinkers. Genius. Say what you feel, positive or negative. Genius. So we keep on saying, I hate you, I hate you. How are we going to get a different result out of hate? Why don't we just try love? Try love. Genius. I was on opioids. Hey, everyone listen to this, please. I was on opioids. Hey, everyone listen to this, please. We are controlled by the media.
The best podcast in the universe.
Adios, mofo.
Dvorak.org/NA.
We are controlled by the media.